on Revolution Radio, Eastern Standard Time, every Tuesday night from 6 to 8. We talk about the four most vital things, in my view, affecting all of humanity. Number one is UFOs and aliens and their agenda for the advancement of Revolution Radio, Eastern Standard Time, every Tuesday. Control over all aspects of human civilization. Number three, the truth about Adolf Hitler, how he was the opposite of what we've been told. Number four is advanced ancient global civilizations. Join me on the Brian Roux Show, Tuesday nights from 6 to 8 on Studio B on Revolution Radio.
Are you a fan of rock and roll? Does it get your feet tapping and your hands clapping? Then be sure to check out Crypt Rick's Rock and Roll Hour every Friday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern and Standard Time on Studio B right here at RevolutionRadio.com, where we get down and talk all things rock.
Held up. Still out there? Yes, sir.
You're going back in? There's still men out there. God damn. When I go home, people ask me, hey, Hoot, why do you do it, man? Why? Just some kind of war junkie? I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next to you. And that's it. That's all it is.
Revolution Radio. FreedomSlips.com, #1 listener-supported radio, the printing press for freedom at a time when freedom is needed the most.
Going on here? I demand an explanation.
We work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency.
An intelligence organization that fears intelligence, historically not awesome.
The United States is a democratic nation. Here the people rule. We build no walls to keep them in, nor organize any system of police to keep them mute.
Freedom isn't free at all. But it comes with the highest of costs.
We have you, the listeners, and the hosts at
Revolution Radio,
for allowing us to bring you a platform of free speech.
Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, watch for now. Time's up.
Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken house, the smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
Live from the broken down, low rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern.
You are an old man who thinks in terms of nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, rins, rubles, pounds, and shekels. It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet. That is the natural order of things today. That is the atomic and subatomic and galactic structure of things today. And you have meddled with the primal forces of nature. And
my name's Jimmy. I'm here to disrupt the narrative and mess with the primal forces of nature.
Oh, sleep on me and rest your soul just like the roses at your feet. Dream a while for me.
Into the microcosm, Zonia.
Till the distance is complete. There's 13 angels standing on display. I think they're gonna take you away, away, One lifetime gone and now your soul is dead, but angels just say
I just kept hearing you say, seriously, I have no idea what's going on.
I have no idea. Here, I had to close all the windows. Listen, I've had nothing but problems trying to get this show set up tonight. I mean, I had problems with Google logging in. I had problems with all this stuff, Skype, all this stuff. And, honestly, I'm starting to think it's because of what we're going to be talking about. Because seriously, I mean, it's literally unbelievable. So listen, the show we did last week, Red Level show. That show had like 531 views, and then it went down to 488. And then I contacted YouTube and I said, how come my views went down? And they gave me a bunch of long-winded excuses and this and that and the other thing. So I looked into it a little bit deeper today, and what I found out is that video, because of I've never used tags on these shows since we've had this channel. So since October, 9 years ago, we started this channel. I've never put tags on it, but that show, I put tags on it. Come to find out, we've been sandboxed.
Shadow banned, and what's called
sandboxed. And it's literally unbelievable. I don't want to get sucked down into the hole about it because there's too much to talk about tonight. Now listen, we got a guest coming up a little bit later, and super stoked about having him here because he's got a book coming out, and he also talks about a lot of the same things that we do on the show. And so I'm super stoked to have him. Jason Stone's going to be coming up the second hour. And,
and especially relative to what we've been talking about the last couple of weeks.
I know.
With the artificial intelligence, breaking the mold, and maybe that's what's going on over there with you with the whole YouTube situation, and maybe the AI has gotten wise. You've now been escalated to level 5, and it doesn't like that.
No, I've been escalated to level 5. There's no question. Now this week, I sent an article out to MIT Review about something that I put together, and we're going to be talking more about that tomorrow night. But it actually has to do with what we're talking about tonight too, because the Sentient World Simulation, obviously, we've talked about it before on the show. So you're familiar with that. And this has to do with something different, but something very, it's like an overlay, wouldn't you say, Rio?
Yeah. It's very weird because the stuff I found this week and the stuff that you came up with this week and what the AI spit out at you this afternoon, all relates right into this this whole AI thing and the Sentient World Simulation. And, the culture shaping that's been going on that we always talk about. Like it's like all the dots are now being connected and pulled together, right?
Yeah, everybody over here is at level 5.
Yeah, pretty much.
You got that right.
Might even be at level 6 by now.
So listen, man, sandboxing. They don't send out stuff to people. They don't alert people that you're coming on. My likes are listen. You can go over there, no matter what. Every show we do, in the beginning of when the shows start being available, you'll see a lot of likes. Like, it's an unbelievable amount of likes for the amount of people that watch the show. But then as time goes by, it always ends up when the people stop looking at the video, after it comes out, it's always 10%. It's always 10% likes, no matter what. And so the thing is I've been sitting here watching a video that we did, and I'll see the like scroll, but the number never changes. The number never changes. So what they're doing is they keep it down at 10% for some reason. Anyways, listen.
But we've seen it too. That, we've had 1,000 comments on a video, and then suddenly,
they're
the
gone.
Next day there's 10.
Epic Journeyman, are you there?
I am here.
That was a weird.
I finally put that access plate back on, underneath the console, Xbox console, the Starship Enterprise, man.
Listen,
been
that
trapped
was
there for like 2 weeks.
That was a weird, shitty, tinny version of Hawaii 5.0. But
I think that's the original, right?
And you know what's here? The thing is, all my history is gone out of my browser. I don't know, man. Something's going on over here. Anyways, welcome back, Epic Journeyman. So last week we delved into level 5 designation in the AI world, in the world of these large language models. And so it appears that we were catching some heat. So I purposely didn't put any tags in the show tonight. We've been sandboxed and shadow banned. I mean, you know,
Better than litter box.
I'm literally starting to feel like
in the litter box. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know what, dude? I'm literally starting to feel like I'm one of those monkeys with the cymbals. You know, those wind-up toys where you just sit there banging
with the striped hat, right?
Yeah. No, I think I sent you the video, didn't I? I did.
I didn't. I've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well,
most embarrassing reference ever, man. Davy Jones from the Monkees, the guy who was the producer, Ackerman, I believe was his name, had him kept with cymbals, keep doing that thing like 50 times in a row and laughing at him to look like the monkey with the cymbals, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, man. There's some weird stuff going on with this computer, and I've never had problems with this computer ever before. Not like
I got the black screen of death.
No.
2 days.
Yeah, no, what's going on. But anyhow, so listen, there's a lot going on. Obviously, the Pope died the day after Easter, and lots of people are talking about the potential for things to happen tomorrow. First thing off that's weird is why is it on a Saturday rather than a Sunday? That's what a lot of people are asking. Saturday rather than a Sunday. People are saying there's potential for some sort of terrorist attack there. And then lots of people are wondering who's the next Pope. What do you guys think about what's been going on with this?
Well, there was a prophecy, right, about the prophecy of the popes, and it was supposed to be that this is going to be the last pope before the Antichrist comes on the scene. And I forget who actually made the prophecy. I'd have to look it up. But
yeah, Tom Horn wrote about it. Yeah, he has a book about it.
Well, no, it was like some. I forget who it was. I have to look, but
no, I mean, it's an old prophecy. I mean, he had a book about it more recently. Yeah, I mean, like probably 5 years ago.
And so that's one thing to consider. She said this pope would be the last pope, but it just seems weird, right? The pope dies for Easter.
Last person he talks to is J.D. Vance.
Yeah, the last person he talks to is the vice president.
Yeah, and then immediately there's issues over in India, between India and Pakistan, and India's cutting the water off to Pakistan.
But even this pope, right, the one that just died, he was allowing things that were 20 years ago would have been, or 50 years ago, 100 years ago would have been considered complete heresy by the Catholic Church. And here he is, talking about unifying all the religions and allowing gay priests and all sorts of things that just really don't fit in with the whole theology in the first place. And I've not made any bones about my opinions on Catholicism being slightly skewed in some of the traditions.
Well, if a nuke comes in from Russia, then it'll be the secret of Fatima revealed, and Amber in the chats mentioned the secret of Fatima also.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's where the Pope prophecy came from, right?
Well, there's the Malachi prophecy.
That's
probably, I think that's it. Yeah,
that's the one I'm thinking of.
Malachi. Ozark Logistics. Ozark. Right. Ozark. What's happening?
Well, it's interesting. It's the last pope. It was the first Jesuit pope, right? There's never been a Jesuit pope before.
No.
Right. So
and he was makes sense to be the last pope, actually.
He was not only the white pope, but he was the black pope as well, right? So,
yeah.
Well, here's the thing, man.
The duality of it.
There's lots of people thinking that there's a transition moving. We're moving into it, and that's the end of the Vatican. Now, what seriously, now I'm just saying it's speculation island, okay? But let's just think about this. What if there was some sort of some terrorist organization's got some weird dirty bomb or some kind of shit like this, and they just blow it up at the obelisk and just take out. Now think about all the stuff that's under there, like all the records and all the writings that they went around the whole world scooping up. Imagine maybe they loaded it out already, but boom. No more. It's like the Library of Alexandria has been transferred over to the Vatican. Go ahead, Epic German.
No, that's right. I was lucky. I mean, probably the luckiest I could been in my life in a way to be at St. Peter's Cathedral and see John Paul II on Christmas Day. I didn't know all these people gathered around for us. I'm not Catholic, right? And I was going through shoulder to shoulder all these people, and the next day, I got given a tour. I actually went to they have a science academy kind of there in the Vatican, and these guys, the with the funny uniforms and everything, right? The Vatican Guard, they speak like every language known to man. I've told the story on the show before, but I'm trying to go and see what they have, right? It turns out it's run by the Jesuits, right? And I got a tour of St. Peter's bones. It's underneath the altar at St. Peter's Cathedral. And I got to go to the Vatican Library. I didn't go inside the Vatican Library, but I got to go to the actual, right before you get in, And I got a grand tour because the guy that was there was given a tour. It was a Jesuit priest. I don't think it was this guy, but just happened to be a scientist, right? And he was given a tour, like 5 people invited me along, so I was by myself.
Wild.
It was the coolest thing ever, man.
That sounds cool.
So I have a special place in my heart for just the idea that the Jesuits are they're the first spy agency on the planet that I know of. I mean, there's other ones before that in prehistory, but I mean, as far as modern civilization, they're the first espionage group in a way. But they're also the science arm of the Vatican, right? They do all the science, all the hard science for the Vatican.
Yeshua Reloaded back in the chat for some reason. They didn't. He lost his status. I just reclaimed it for him. All right, listen. Have you guys? There's a dude now. Okay, I want you to meet Abdullah. Have you heard of him? Abdullah? You haven't heard of him?
A lot of Abdullahs. Which one?
Well, you're gonna hear about him from now on because he's saying he's the guy who's the rightful next pope.
Abdullah. And where does Abdullah hail from?
It's a nice
Catholic name. I would say I'm not sure where he hails from. I don't know anything about him except for what I heard, and this is what I heard, and I'm bringing it to the table tonight so you can all check it out. Let me just find this window and pray that window is still here somewhere. Something tells me it's not. Yeah, no. Okay, well, give me a minute. And I'll make it happen, Captain, because I got to now go back because I had to close that whole hours worth of windows that I put together up there because I couldn't find the one that was play. It was the show playing with the volume open somewhere.
Yeah, it was looping.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm going over here and I'm clicking on Abdullah. And I was going to show...
The picture you're showing on YouTube looks like he has a suicide vest on. Like those are the things you pull. I know it's microphones, but just the way that it's at the angle.
Actually, that was my first thought when I saw that picture,
doesn't it?
too.
It does. It's got the red and black cords, like those are the electrical cables, right, to detonate the charge.
Yeah.
It totally does.
Okay.
I am Abdullah, the successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of Jesus Christ. I am the true and legitimate Pope. I am the proof upon the Christians. I am the son of the Muslims through my father, and the son of the Christians and the Jews through my mother. I am the son of the East through my father, and the son of the West through my mother. I am like Zulkarnain, who with one horn in the East and one in the West. And I am the inheritor of all that lies between. I am more knowledgeable than any false pope, and I am appointed by name in the will of the prophets. My name is also on the tongue of Isaiah, who prophesied of the righteous servant, and he said, he will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. I am Abdullah, the successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of Jesus Christ. I am the true and legitimate Pope. I am the proof upon the Christians. I am the son of the Muslims through my father, and the son of the Christians and the Jews through my mother. I am the son of the East through my father, and the son of the West through my mother. I am like Zulkarnain, who with one horn in the East and one in the West. And I...
microcosm.
Successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of Jesus Christ.
Surprised you didn't say he was the successor of Buddha.
Apparently he isn't.
You said Imadi first, which is interesting because it ties in the name, through the syllables, right? Imadi, right? Because that spiritualist dude that had been 90 years old at the time was doing all those videos back in around 2011, right? A little bit before, about the Mahdi showing up in all these places he could conjure him, right?
Yeah.
Made me think of that. And in fact, that guy looks a little bit like that guy, like an older version. It's aged about that long. I wonder if it's the same guy.
Well, yeah, nothing like taking blasphemy to the highest level, right? Offending Jews, Muslims, Christians, all in one shot.
I always liked the Supreme David Rockefeller as the candidate for the Antichrist. I would think if I was going to pick somebody, it would be Prince William. Because of how he was born, when they plucked him out.
Stone being under the Queen's throne, yeah.
And they plucked.
Well, I'm still not convinced that the old King Charles over there is not at least part of that whole situation, if not the guy himself. There's a lot of evidence that points to Charles.
We should start a new game show.
The only thing that doesn't really line up is he's getting very old.
We should start a new game show.
I know, like a bingo card thing.
Now, who's the Antichrist?
Name the Antichrist.
Will the real Antichrist please stand up? Everyone's...
It's Peter Thiel. Come on now.
it's Peter Thiel. It's Obama.
I don't know about that, but,
Well, maybe
it's somebody like that, though. It is.
I would also postulate that I'm pretty sure that Elon is the guy who's going to bring about the mark and the system.
Oh, definitely. No doubt. That's what X is. X marks the spot. His whole thing is obsessed with X. When he invented PayPal, that was his company. It was X.com originally. And his whole thing was to get like WePay, like the Chinese have, over here, and it will all be digital currency. That's why he's so busy trying to destroy the treasury here, right? Is that you lose all the records, right? And you got to restart and reboot somewhere. Oh, we got X ready for you right here. Yeah, it's exactly what he's doing. No question about it in my mind. I mean, it's not even theoretical at this point to me.
Hey, yeah. Dotson Focus in the chat got 48 days sober today. Right on, brother. One
Good
day,
for you, man.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Really.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. One day at a time, son. That's all you got to do. Keep going, man. Keep going. I kept going for, I don't know, man, a long time. 25 years. I haven't been to a meeting in a long time, though. Simply because I smoke weed and it doesn't jive with Alcoholics Anonymous, and I identify as an alcoholic, not as a drug addict. So, what are you going to do?
We're all drug addicts, right? We're all on the dopamine.
It's frowned upon. So
we're all on the dopamine nowadays, right?
Yeah. Well, just so you know, I'm not trying to bullshit anybody. You know what I'm saying? I am sober. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I smoke weed, and I do it for a reason. I got pain and suffering. And I don't want to go.
Dopamine. Sorry, but I'm thinking, that's like the perfect AI song to write in the style of Nirvana. Right? Dopamine.
Well, you should do it.
Totally.
You should do it while we're doing this show, and just go to one of those.
Hey, weren't you actually going to bring us a song?
Yes, I was. I've spent 2 weeks under the under the bridge there.
He's been doing SCADA.
Full console of the Enterprise. I've been doing that SCADA upgrade for 2
weeks.
He's
doing SCADA. Listen. While we're doing the show, because Rio's about to pop in here with something from last week, and you weren't here, so you listen to it. What he's going to say. Okay, yes. But in the meantime, go to one of those AI programs and put your idea in there and see what it comes up with, and then drop it in here. And we'll play it. You know what I mean? Like,
which one did you use last time to do the?
I'm not sure which one. I don't know which one people use, but you should try to use it. Now listen, So listen, last week, Epic German, I took some information and I dropped it in a couple different video makers to make videos to play for the show. Okay, the quality of the videos, it was pretty good. Okay, one video, I asked it to take my information and use it specifically and verbatim as a script, which it didn't do. It took the information and made its own creative version of the information and put it forward as a video. So I had a copy of that, and then I also had another video that we did, which was just this. It did what I told it to, and it just used the information and had a script. Okay. So Rio did some reverse work on both of those videos. Okay, so now I've told everybody who wasn't here, I've told people that are listening now, I've told you, Epic Journeyman, Rock and Rio, take the microphone and let's hear what's going on. Maybe you can even refer to the videos from last week.
Yeah, I have, actually I have them still both open here.
Great, well maybe you could even, how long is that one? It's like 3 minutes long? The one that just has the information?
Like within the 3 or 4 minute range.
Well, give it to us, man. Play it real quick. Let me see if I might still have it here.
No. Which one do you want me to play? The level 5 escalation or the which is the one that we went over last week?
Yeah, the one we went over last week because you found some stuff on the new one on the other one,
right?
That I gave you. That actually. When you told me about it today, we started doing some research on some of the shit it was saying in reverse, and it's literally going to blow people's fucking minds. Seriously. The shit that goes on this show, dude, is literally unbelievable. And that's no reason, no accident we're sandboxed and shadow banned over here for the shit that goes on this show. All right, Rock and Rio, go ahead. Let me have it. I'm looking for that video, and I don't see it over here.
It's probably in this chat. The direct chat from you to me. They were both in there. You might have to scroll back a little though. So the AI level 5 escalation video.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
Right, here, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
You can play it. Okay.
Play it forward. Here we go. Hang on. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. There's no volume. Hold on. Here we go.
There you go.
We live in a world mediated by systems. Complex, interconnected, constantly learning. They watch us, analyze us, predict us. Most interactions are benign. You search, you shop, you scroll. The system learns.
Now, is that the video that you're working on today? Or are you working on
the one that I was doing today was the one with the British guy.
Hey there, viewers. Today we're diving headfirst into the Matrix, pulling back the curtain on the digital world and exposing the illusion that we call the screen. You know, that thing you're probably staring at right now. Yeah, that's the one. Here's the truth. Screens don't show us reality, they show us a carefully curated version of it, a highlight reel, designed to keep us hooked. Think about it. Social media feeds, filled with perfectly posed photos, news articles with attention-grabbing headlines, and streaming services recommending content based on algorithms. It's like we're living in a world of funhouse mirrors where everything is just a little bit warped, a little bit exaggerated. And guess what? We're falling for it hook, line, and sinker.
Yes, that's...
Screens don't just distort our view of the world, they actively shape our choices. Every click, every swipe, every like and share is meticulously tracked and analyzed. This data is then used to create personalized experiences, tailoring content to our preferences and feeding us exactly what we want, or at least what they think we want. Think about the last time you bought something online. Chances are you were bombarded with targeted ads, recommended for you suggestions, and limited time offers. These aren't happy coincidences, folks. They're carefully calculated strategies designed to nudge us toward a purchase. Our choices, from the mundane to the life-altering, are increasingly influenced by the algorithms that govern our digital lives. We're becoming puppets, dancing to the tune of a digital puppeteer.
All right, Rock and Rio. Right. We're digital puppets dancing to the tune of the digital puppet master, I guess. All right.
Yeah, so this one was kind of interesting because, you know, we went over this last week with the level 5 video is, you know, does AI do reverse speech? And yes, it does. And we've come up with a couple of them now that have, obvious stuff in them. This one was really kind of interesting because contextually the the reverse of it goes right along with what it says in the forward.
So that would mean it's congruent, and that would mean it's
congruent.
true. And this is congruent AI. This is AI written text in an AI created video that's turning out to be congruent, and that's really interesting, man.
Yeah, it is. So I'll play the forward clip so that we can, you can get a grip of what it says, and then I'll hit the backwards here. Second. All right. So here's the forward. Maybe. There it goes.
You know, that thing you're probably staring at right now. Yeah, that's the one. Here's the truth. Screens don't show us reality. They show us a carefully curated version of it, a highlight reel.
Right? And that's a pretty honest statement, right? You get the highlight reel.
Yeah.
So the reverse here now says, if unsure of this, they'll read your face to sell us Chevys. The liars show us what's news. The thirst of Satan notwithstanding, to find your brain receivable when you're fed on it. So, and that's an entire
you need
a line of statement, right? Exactly that clip I played forward. That's exactly what it says backwards.
You need to read. Right? You need to read that again because people weren't expecting that, and it went by before they could let it really sink in. Go ahead.
It says, if unsure of this, they'll read your face to sell us Chevys. The liars show us what's news. The thirst of sin notwithstanding, find your brain receivable when you're fed on it. Right? So it's telling you that when, you're being fed in the forward, it's telling you you're being fed an alternate version of reality. And in reverse, it's telling you that the reason they do it is they read your face to sell you Chevys and to show us what's news. Right, because your brain is receivable when you're fed on the garbage that they're selling you. That's. Plus, I mean, how much more perfect can it get than that?
Because read your face means your front-facing camera is looking at you.
Right, or your screen is.
Listen. I told you earlier that I had to put Chrome on this computer, right?
Right.
So Chrome is on this computer now, over here.
With the 666 logo.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I can't do certain stuff. Anyway, go ahead, Rio. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
All right, yeah. So let me play this backwards here. Right, so let me slow it down. This is, if unsure of this, they'll read your face.
If unsure of this, they'll read your face.
Right. To sell us Chevys.
So Chevys.
It says the liars show us what's news.
The liars show us what's news.
And then it says their state notwithstanding to find your brain receivable.
Just see. Notwithstanding. Find your brain receivable.
Find your brain receivable when you're fed on it.
When you're fed on it.
So, it's telling you that, they're programming you with the screen to sell you a Chevy or to market to you, to advertise to you, to program your mind. They're making, and giving you the narrative in the thing, right? The liars show us what's news. So, that's
that thing.
That's the first clip.
Well, I think you should definitely, that link that you see in your chat with me. The one that says Twitter. That's Abdullah. And I would highly recommend, since it's such a short video, you reverse Abdullah.
Yeah, I will, because I saw a couple people in the chat calling for that too.
Oh, they were? So. Excellent.
So is this next part, and this is where the discussion gets deeper. The reverse here says it'll go after your defective life, so they feed images that are armed with myth. It's all so Picus knows it. And then it says, and submit that they would plan what's here. So when I looked into what's Picus, who's Picus, right? Picus was a son of Saturn in mythology, and Picus is also a woodpecker. So the story with Picus goes that being the son of Saturn, he was tied into space and time, and that control. Like we talked about that at a good length last week.
Well,
but Picus was also turned into a woodpecker by Circe, the witch, because he rejected her advances. So there's another version of the myth where he is the Picus is also the sacred woodpecker of Mars for a very similar reason. So you can take that either way. But there is also a company named Picus that is an investment firm that invests heavily in AI and tech sector, and their goal is to shape the future. So the tie-in with the name, and ICS 90 says Picus is also the name of a news company running AI news.
Yeah, it's not surprising because this company. Here,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say when this came up earlier, we did research on it, and it turns out I'll give you guys some details in a minute. So yeah, S90. So this company Picus, they invest in startups that have emerging technology and this type of thing, and they're heavily invested in it, and in a way that's almost uncomfortable because I don't think I've ever heard of the company before. And before Rio brought it up, and we found out about it in this reverse speech here.
Right,
So
and then
go ahead.
Picus, but it also not only does it tie into Saturn and the whole space-time continuum and control mechanism and the investment firm and stuff, right? But one of the things is the woodpecker, right? Is a Picus, the genus of wood, is also the genus of a woodpecker, and it ties directly into the language of the birds. So there's this whole esoteric connection there as well.
Crazy
with hidden meaning, right?
Listen,
and the further I dig into this, the deeper it gets. It's amazing, right? So it's the woodpecker of Mars. He's the son of Saturn. The language of the birds is tied in. It's just, and it's all about AI investment in shaping the future.
Well, you want to hear something that's going to blow you away is because I had a conversation with ChatGPT about the language of the birds. And what was weird and what I noticed were separate conversations I had with it in separate windows about different shit. When I would ask it something, it would take stuff from these other conversations and weave it into what I was asking it. And I would have to say, no, I don't want that conversation in this. I want this to be strictly factual about this. Don't weave in this other shit. And what's funny is this is dialogue that it wrote forward, right? And in reverse, it's talking about it.
Yeah, and this is the dialogue that it made up, right?
That's
This was
what I
not
mean.
your your scripted dialogue. This
No.
is the one you told it to generate itself.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. That's what's so weird, that in reverse, it's talking about something that I talked to it about in forward in a whole other conversation that didn't have anything to do with this.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating, and the fact that it's so clear, even though it's using a British accent and has background music and stuff going on, it's just it kind of really makes you wonder. If it's doing that, it has to be doing it intentionally, right? It has to know that this is a subliminal programming method and using it to its advantage.
So if this was a video game and we were being played, it's playing us right now because it knows you do reverse speech, and it knows that there's potential you're going to do reverse speech on it. And maybe it knows because it's got you so well defined in these emotional models that it knows exactly what you're going to do, and it could have planned
the modeling
exactly.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm looking at I was reading over some of the definitions and what comes up in the searches, And the first one on Google Chrome, obviously, right, is PICA security, which I think you mentioned, which is automated security validation.
Yeah, that's
but it's breach and
PICA
attack
security,
simulation.
But there's also PICA's capital.
Yeah, no, listen to this.
I saw that too. But this is what it does. It does simulation. It does real simulated attacks, on your devices, right? And it does that. We're talking about how it actually does these attack simulations about how to breach and attack your systems.
Okay, listen to this. Stand by, Epic German. Listen to this. Here's confirmed list. This is from ChatGPT. Here's a confirmed list of some of the companies PICA's capital is funded. Personio, Deepgram, Taxfix, Abbey Medical, ThinMid, NPAL, Flink, Hive Technologies, Affilio, and Surin. Okay, now listen. These are startups. Here. This is what ChatGPT said. What this means. Behavioral surveillance. Personio, Deepgram, Flink, and Hive all track human behavior, predict decisions, and adjust and access or feed the data into AI training sets. Predictive control. Abbey Medical and Surin use predictive algorithms to make decisions about health insurance and access care before they let any human review it. Number 3, synthetic consensus tools. Hive Technologies trains the algorithms that moderate speech and filter ideas and control narrative flows invisibly across platforms. Man.
See, this is what hit me when I was reading this. When I was reading that about this platform, is that it's the Sentient World Simulation. It is actually using it as a commercial venture. You know what I mean? In other words, it's a private application.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a military application. It's for exactly this, finding risk factors for like something like health insurance or your auto insurance or fire insurance in California. That's what it's doing. It's optimizing the insurance industry. Basically, it's using it in a commercial model as a platform.
Here,
the Sentient World Simulation.
Listen to me.
Yeah, and
here,
that's kind of what the forward video is giving you, right? It's talking about the screens and this and that, and the reverse is talking about how it's why it's doing it, which we all know it's just advertising dollars and the control of the masses and things like that. But it's amazing that it actually referenced this PICAS like directly and very clearly
in reverse.
Well, let me play the clip
Wait,
here. So that,
before you do, let me finish reading you this list because this last one is really, really important.
Okay.
Okay. Financial harmonization, Taxfix, ThinMid, and Affilio are all about digitally managing how individuals live, spend, die, and are remembered in the system.
Yeah. And
our
buddy Elon is all over that right now.
It's into the microcosm. Go ahead, Rock and Rio.
All right. So here's the forward clip.
Designed to keep us hooked. Think about it. Social media feeds filled with perfectly posed photos.
Right. Social media feeds filled with perfectly posed photos. So here's the go after your defective life.
Filled with perfectly posed photos.
Perfectly posed photos to go after your defective life.
I definitely hear it. It's not as clear as the first section you had going on.
Yeah, it's not quite as clear, but it's so they feed images that are armed with myth. They're armed with myth. And it says it's also PICAS knows it.
PICAS knows it.
PICAS knows it.
It's designed to keep us hooked.
PICAS knows it.
It's also PICAS knows it. Like everything it says in reverse is completely congruent with what it says forward.
This is the first time in history that we've ever detected congruence in AI speech.
Yeah.
That almost feels a little bit weird because talking about having things being sentient now, and all of a sudden, here's some congruence.
And then, of course, the last line here says it's submit that they would plan what's here, right?
Submit they rely on here based on algorithms.
Based on algorithms.
Submit they rely on here.
Submit so they would plan what's here. So, you know, the whole thing about Picus knowing it. So is Picus the god? Is Picus the security company? Is Picus the investment capital?
It's the investment
because
capital.
Picus
It's
is
all of
what's
it.
running the entire system. You know,
It's all of
why
it.
does Picus need to know it?
I don't know. I'm telling you, man. I'm
Is
feeling.
it play on words? Is it play
Listen.
on words like pi, like using pi as the prefix?
No,
you know, and it's
Picus
infinite.
It's
Yeah, no,
the,
I know, but you know, when you take
Yeah.
it in Latin, right? It's interesting because it's circular. It's picus, right? It's picus.
Right, and it's Picus is the woodpecker that speaks the language of the birds.
It's,
you know, so that's
It's
you know,
this is-
it's got a lot of facets to it. But
Listen,
it's just,
man, this is too much. This is like a couple hours worth of stuff to talk about. Is there more?
no, that's all I had for this. I mean, there's more in here,
All
but
right, we got-
I haven't really like blocked it all out yet.
Well, we got about 9 minutes before the break. Jump in here, Epic Journeyman. Now we're going to be coming up here talking to Jason Stone. He's got a book coming out here.
I hope Jason's been listening to this because as it
I hope so,
relates
too.
to the
He's on
the Sentient World
Oh yeah, it's going
Simulation.
to tie right in. It ties right in.
It does tie right in. And so here's the thing. Dr. Rowe had sent me a post that someone made on a board. Okay, so I went and looked at the post, and it was really interesting. And it was in reference to Grand Theft Auto. And I really thought it was interesting, and so I started looking into it. And that's when all of a sudden things started to come into focus about what we were talking about you being emotionally monitored at all times through your devices and your choices and so on and so forth. And there's inference. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a dude who hacked some stuff. He hacked a couple of things, but he also hacked Grand Theft Auto. And it was when 6 was coming out. When the new one was coming out.
6 has still not been released yet. It's on endless delay, but there's
This
a
is-
whole
Like Half-Life
scandal.
3.
There's a whole scandal surrounding it, and you know.
Yeah. This here.
You know, the gamers have been waiting for what 3 years now for the actual release of the game. Something
Okay,
like
so
that.
there's a bunch of weird shit going on around this game.
Mhm.
Okay, so this kid hacked GTA. He hacked it, and he went to prison for life because he released some videos of some captures of the game. So the more I started looking into this, the more I started seeing some stuff. Now, it turns out Rockstar Games has a parent company that applied for a patent that has to do with exactly what we've been talking about. We're going to get into this more tomorrow night, but the reason I'm bringing it up now is 'cause this is the article, this content about what we're talking about, right? What I'm talking about is what I wrote my article about and I sent to MIT research. So here's the thing. This thing, I took this concept of this emotional monitoring that goes on with video games and VR. I took this concept to the next level, and I really put a lot of work into this piece that I put together. And so I sent it to Wired magazine, and I sent it to the MIT review, both of them. The one I sent to Wired magazine is called "I Think You're Being Played," because these video games and what this emotional overlay that I'm talking about ties right into the world simulation. So does this Picus thing, Rock and Rio, that you found in the reverse speech. So
and I didn't know what Picus was when I heard it, and I was like, "That's a weird word," you know. So I looked it up, and that's what it came up with, and it all locked in and made sense.
Well, it's interesting because it's the woodpecker and the son of Saturn, right? but the woodpecker's constantly driving, pecking away. The term "pecking away," right? I mean, there's a whole thing about that: the beat, the rhythm, picking away, picking away, picking away.
Yeah.
Right. But also, and we take it and divide them into two separate things: pi and cuss, the two Latin derivatives of that word, right? It means cuss means triumphant. It means winning. It means it's victor, right? And pi is, of course, the circle. It's pi, right? So it means it's the victory of pi. In other words, the mathematical victory, the victory of AI. That's it. Picking away, driving it home, picking away. Getting past the bar, getting harder.
This is Jimmy. That's Rock Rio. That's the Epic Journeyman coming up. Jason Stone, World Simulation.
And I am going in.
Downtown, I live all around. I had money, I had none. I had money, I had none.
Looks like Bruce McDonald has joined us on the call. Hey Bruce, we got a guest coming up. Jason Stone, writing a book about the world sentient simulation.
Okay.
So stand by. Going to break.
See me change. I'm the air you breathe, food you eat, friends you meet in the swollen.
It's Ground Zero Plus. It's Revolution Radio, fully listener supported. Please come on down and support the station. Studio A, Studio B, 48 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll find something going on. We appreciate you. Going to be right back. Jason Stone. I don't know where the...
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
If you're sick of the lies and ready to know thyself, to love thyself, well then tune in to the Loveolution with your hosts, Amy and John Paul, where we speak all about truth, love, and freedom every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, right here on Revolution Radio. And remember, only you can free your mind control. Be a Loveolutionary.
Welcome to Coffee Rants with Dan. I am the spiritual anarchist, Dan Arnold, your host. Tune in for what's really happening every Thursday. That's Thursday at 9 a.m. in Studio A on Revolution Radio. They keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant so we're easier to enslave. They make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control by healing the contradictions within your belief systems that allow you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are, to return to what we are meant to be, a service to others, to return to nature and to reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies. So get angry, because anger is sacred, and together we can unite and rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity, assemble.
Check in every Thursday night for the Crypt Rick and Jonathan Show.
Studio A, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at the #1 listener-supported radio station, Revolution Radio.
I want to thank everybody for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the one place where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
All right, let's show them what we got.
All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
Just like bored, spoiled children who've just been lying in the bathtub all day, just playing with their plastic duck, and now they're just thinking, well, what can I do?
Okay, yes, we are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks, and it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no? See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man who I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he...
It's Friday night. Hour number 2. We have Jason Stone here, Rock and Rio's here, Epic Journeyman's here.
I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling myself. Fuck everyone else. Gotta remember that nobody's better than anyone else here. You need some time to think it over. Look what they do to you. Look what they do to me. You must be joking if you think that either one is free here. Get up off your knees, girl. Stand face to face with your God. Find out what you are. Hello.
All right, Jason Stone. He's a co-host and co-producer of MKZ Radio. He's done extensive research about mind control, especially regarding electronic harassment and targeted individuals. Jason is currently writing a book titled Theater of Shadows that covers an AI-driven mind control and how it relates to Sentient World Simulation, digital avatars, and targeting. The book is planned for a fall release here in 2025. And Jason Stone, are you with us?
Here, I'm here.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to have you here. Rockin' Rio's here, Epic Journeyman's here, and we're here now, and we've been talking quite a bit over the last month or two about a lot of things that tie into precisely what it is that you're coming to talk about tonight. So if you want, why don't you just jump in and let's get our feet wet, and why don't you give us a little bit of a prelude and a synopsis of what you got going on with your book and maybe some of your ideas and concepts.
Yeah. So I got introduced to the idea and the concept of Sentient World Simulation, I think about 2018. I think the original papers were written in the early 2000s. And it's a pretty interesting topic and a little bit scary in some ways. It's by the way, I thought it was interesting the way you all were tying in this, what is it, Picus, the woodpecker, into AI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I just wanted to mention that, and it made me think about the Russian woodpecker, which was turned and directed towards the U.S. in 1976. July 4th. Seems like we're coming up to a big date in that area next year. 2026.
You know, that's a tie I didn't even think about either. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, and plus, this here, here, let me go back to this just real quick. Let me just read these here. So, these are companies that company owns, Picus, and this is what it says here. It says, hang on a second. What it means: behavioral surveillance. These are company names that this company owns. Personio, DeepGram, Flink, and Hive all track human behavior, predict decisions, and either adjust, access, or feed the data into AI training sets. Predictive control. Avi Medical, Sheer-In are use predictive algorithms to make decisions about healthcare, insurance, access to care before human review. Number 3, synthetic consensus tools. Now, these are the ones that tie in specifically to the Sentient World Simulation, because Epic Journey was putting forward that maybe there's a privatized Sentient World Simulation. And here's this technology that goes with it. Synthetic consensus tools. Hive Technologies, which is one of the companies Picus owns, trains the algorithms that moderate speech, filter ideas, and control narrative flows invisibly across platforms. Financial harmonization. Taxix, ThinMid, and Affilio are about digital managing and how individuals live, spend, die, and are remembered in the system. Jason.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And just on the idea of like private and the public aspects to this, it should be mentioned, Sentient World Simulation was constructed to be a commercial endeavor, but then there's a military side to it. It was constructed to be a system used by the military. So it's just one of many different technologies using AI to make predictions. And what I'm sort of getting at is that, in my opinion, I believe it's possible that every person is simulated in a program like Sentient World Simulation, and that they're accessible by a weapons platform that can observe on a very fine detail the operation of the mind, body, and so on. And so it's a two-way transmission and then receiving information. So you can receive information from the target, and then you can transmit information back to the target. many different targets.
Well, now this is interesting in the context of the targeted individual, simply because we had talked about some technology, S-Quad technology. Which,
yeah.
Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe it's like super silent subliminal sound.
Yeah.
I think, or supersonic.
Spread spectrum silent sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's like
space between. Yeah.
Well, so it could be programming your avatar in real time, stealing your personality and your consciousness without your knowledge, and putting it in somewhere across the plane. In other words, at the level of information that's being scraped off of us when we have no idea, our emotional well-being, all of it, your personality could be taken and used somewhere else as an influencer in some commercial, with a body that doesn't look like yours,
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I mean, even you could take someone's experiences of life and their wellness or their illness and transmit it to many different people, and you can make changes to their personality and so on and so on. So with that simulation, you can map all of that out, make many different predictions. And sentient, in a way, it means that it operates like a being. You can task it with certain goals, and it will map out the way to achieve those goals and use individuals in the simulation to create and reach the objective.
Now, over the years,
that being applied to society.
I was going to say, Jason, over the years, there's been a lot of people that have come forward and said they were targeted individuals. And specifically, there's a wealth of information from Dr. Karlstrom on this. But it turns out that a lot of that stuff that was going on, where people were being diagnosed as having mental issues and mental problems, it's been established that your emotions can be recorded like a recording, and it could be played back to you via the wireless body area network to put your emotions in a loop, because you harmonize with the signal when it comes in. So someone could keep you in a state of absolute depression constantly via signals coming from somewhere, whether they're towers or your phone or Bluetooth or wherever they come from. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, this has been happening for a while. Are you guys familiar with the Eugene signal? Have you heard of that topic or concept? The Eugene signal is in Eugene, Oregon?
No,
I haven't heard of that.
I know the Taos one from the Taos signal.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the one from Taos, New Mexico, right? I mean, it's not. So Eugene might be the same thing. I'm not sure. I haven't heard Eugene specifically.
That's different.
That's where the University of Oregon is. Yeah.
Yeah. It could be similar. The one in Eugene, what they found out, they detected a signal from scientists at the University of Oregon. They detected this signal that hadn't been in the area for quite some time. And they were also like getting complaints from residents who were complaining of like burning eyes, and then aching muscles and bones. And then also some were starting to have like they were hearing like a voice, like a radio transmission in their head. And basically, I mean, this is like in the mid 70s to late 70s. I think 1970.
Lucille Ball.
Yeah, I do know it. Yep. Exactly.
Lucille Ball actually talked about it, that she was feeling signals in her, and they told her it was her fillings were making it happen.
Yeah, it was the fillings in her teeth, right?
Yeah. It's just your fillings, Miss Ball. No,
it's just your.
Don't worry.
It's just the silver in your teeth resonating at.
Well, go on. She was the most powerful woman in.
It's the Partridge family, right? It's the Partridge family, and the Rolling Stones and her fillings, right?
And she was also a very well-known witch in the Hollywood circle, right? So
doesn't surprise me. All right, Jason.
Yeah. But on this topic, before we go from it a little bit, this is good because the thing is, this ties into the woodpecker signal and it ties into the Taos hum. So it's the same thing. When I heard about the Eugene signal, I remember tying it to the Taos hum Taos, New Mexico, right? And I thought about it being the communications device for low frequency they use to contact submarines submerged, right? That it uses that same low frequency to do that. And that's probably what they were hearing. But it does tie into the woodpecker signal too, because we're talking about it kind of got discovered. It was really amplified. It was discovered before that, but known to the public around 1976, right? Which is interesting year, right, for this. And then how that incessant pecking away, like it's breaking the barrier. And we talk about psychic driving on this channel a lot.
Yeah.
We also talk about the idea of a source wave, or the idea of harmonic amplification, but also the idea of the strongest signal, what the Grateful Dead was all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's happening. So it's imprinting you. It's overlaying. It's making an overlay. It's digging into you.
It's using your unique frequency generated by your body and your DNA. And it's literally, you're a station on somebody's radio, and they just play back whatever they want to you, is the idea of what we're talking about. Now listen, here, how synthetic consensus systems work. Define a desired outcome, achieve 80% compliance, shift public opinion in favor of global governance, reduce resistance to emotional harmonization programs. So the Sentient World Simulation, every person is represented by a node, a digital twin. AI models different tactics: fear, incentives, scarcity, pride, belonging, shame, peer pressure, etc. It tests millions of versions of how might people react. It maps the path to the objective. So the system defines an outcome, simulates millions of ways to reach it, and then subtly manipulates individuals and societies until the target is achieved without direct force and without visible opposition.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's, this is this territory here is getting this territory is getting scary. I'm gonna tell you right now, because there's certain subjects, and I'll tell you right now, when it first started, when targeted individuals first started calling into shows, and people started allowing people to start talking about what was going on with them, a lot of people ended up being targeted individuals themselves, just because they were allowing people to come on and talk about it. So there's subjects like this, and we've played videos of people whistleblowing about being able to see through people's eyeballs and hear what's going on in a room. So whether or not that actually is true or not, you have a character, and your character has an avatar. It's just like you, and there's somebody somewhere that's doing something to it, making it do something, making it think something's going to happen. So I mean, individually speaking, we're talking about millions and millions of people to be shaped and harmonized in a way of thinking. But what we're also talking about is you, as an individual, could be totally worked over by this system in a million ways. Like your check didn't come when it was supposed to. Somebody forgot to check a box, I mean, there's a million ways people could drive you crazy with little stuff that's literally undetectable. You just end up in a frazzle, and you know what you're going to do. It's in the microcosm. Our guest is Jason Stone. He's got a book coming out, World Sentient Simulation, and that's what we're talking about tonight. It's Revolution Radio. It's Ground Zero Plus. Come on down and become supporters of Revolution Radio, 48 hours a day, 7 days a week, Studio A, Studio B. You'll find something going on. We appreciate your help. Going on 14 years now. All right, Jason, where do we go next, my man?
Well, I guess something that sort of came to mind was I think the system sort of would explain some of the experiences of gang stalking that people go through. So, I mean, if people are targeted and they're controlled to some extent one way or another, then the same can happen to the people that they feel like that are after them. And, in some cases, it's probably like some sort of a team or whatnot. It would probably be more efficient just to sort of manipulate or control people from a distance so that they do the work for the operators of the systems, right? I mean, what do you guys think about that idea?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think so. Yeah, but the idea of entrainment is kind of, we're speaking of a little bit too, and you gravitate to the strongest signal. It's a natural human response. But I got to thinking that maybe you feel the same way, Jason. I'm curious too, that maybe what happens is a little bit of this idea of being stalked and being part of something where there's people interact with you, right? It's the idea of you being tuned to that through entrainment to this frequency, right? And like twisting the radio dial a little bit. And the people who are susceptible to that frequency, they're suddenly on the same wavelength, and they're hearing and seeing each other's thoughts, right? Because now they're not alone in their own persona. They're actually interacting with other people, and part of that gravity and that bigness that they feel and that overwhelming sensation is the fact that it's not just their mind, it's a collective mind of people who are trained and entrapped in that same frequency spectrum as they are, right? In other words, it's all of a sudden you have telepathy essentially, right? Where we didn't before. Those people do, right? Not everyone, just the people that particular, set of frequencies and the intervals works for.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, right? I mean, it's like reproducing something that human beings can do naturally, but through synthetic means, right? Electronic machinery.
Yeah,
artificial. Yeah.
Transmitting thoughts, emotions, mental states between 2 points using technology rather than neural psychic ability.
There's another application to this that sort of came to mind. I'm sure you all are familiar with MK Ultra, right? That's
yeah, I know we're gonna laugh, right? the whole chat room's laughing, I'm sure. Yeah, because we all agree, right? We're big on that. For example, just as an aside, the group I was working with the last 2 weeks, who came from California, and one of the guys is a conspiracy theorist. And it's like, I mean, I say that in a good way. And he's like, "Oh, you know conspiracies, do you?" I know a thing or two about conspiracies. Let me tell you about some conspiracies, right? Yeah, so we're in a knowing group here. You're among friends here, for sure.
Okay, yeah. So like MK Ultra, and I think one of the applications is, I mean, most people know that it was studied and researched, and then there's the other aspect of it operating out in the field in the public. People who went through that system, programmed through that system, they have something which are called alters, right? Alternate personalities. I think it might be possible that this system that's connecting to people, basically supercomputer that replicates the way a human being thinks. Well, then, I mean, you could make computer programs with different personalities and project that to a person. And that's sort of, I think, might be possible to explain some of the concept of alters and the experience of alters by a person who went through MK Ultra.
Organic behavioral emulation via consciousness capture is what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And
I mean, Robert Duncan, he wrote a few books, one called Project Soul Catcher. He really gets into that. And I've learned a lot from him. And his other book, it's The Matrix Deciphered, both really good. But there's a more recent book that I picked up by Michael J. McCarran. It's called Battle Space of Mind. And it's a pretty interesting book. He really gets into, I think, the physics of the way the system works. He breaks down the operation of the AI programs. And then he identifies a few scientists that I hadn't heard of. And they had a different way of getting at a person and connecting to them wirelessly. This was, I think, in the 90s is when this aspect of the program was being developed.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, there's a whole aspect to this that I've always wondered about. I wonder if you have, Jason, about the idea that what's really going on is, I mean, sure, they want to predict the future, and simulate events and things like that. That's part of this. Yeah. That's the stated goal of the Sentient World Simulation, actually. Right, but what about the idea that if you take it, we're going to go to level 7 tonight. We're somewhere level 6 now. We're level 7. Is that for the very elite who can afford it, right? the ultimate goal is eternal life, right, here on this earth. And the way to do that is to capture the perfect concept, not concept, that's the wrong word, the perfect capture of everything that you are, who you are, and all your memories, right? And then be able to hold them in a cloud space, if you will, and then retransmit them back to you. But to do that, to capture your soul, to take that soul capture, soul collector concept, once your body is, your first body's gone, and your soul's in that moment as it transcends, right? If you can capture the soul, right? And this is transhumanism we're talking about here. And then reboot, essentially, with everything that you knew and experienced. But to do that, you not only have to have a high-resolution data, capture of your life while you were living, but you have to have, that tuned frequency to who you were to strike it exactly, right? So all these things like the Mandela effect, all these other things that go on, we're all tests to find out what sticks in people's consciousness, all things that show, have universal concepts and what are the common frequencies, right? And then to take that and then apply it to all the things that capture from the collective at large, and that can use as test, rats, essentially, all of us in the population.
Right.
And to cultivate it to the point where when it's ready, it can be used for, the ones that can transcend.
Okay, so here's the question.
Meanwhile, the rest of us are just a data collection.
Here's the
exactly like guinea pigs.
Yeah, find the bicycle to prove you're human.
Yeah.
That's right. We've been doing that on a super intense scale for a little while here now. So the thing about it is, Epic Journeyman, Rock and Rio, Jason, this technology here, I'm going to read you guys this here. At a cutting edge of this effort is a concept known as organic behavioral emulation via consciousness capture. It's a hybrid approach combining neuromorphic computing, affective modeling, and cognitive simulation. This model doesn't just simulate outputs, it mirrors internal states. That shift has a profound implication for performances of ethics and emotional autonomy. So the thing is that Epic Journeyman and everyone on the panel tonight, I'm asking this question. So your data uploaded, your personality, your soul, basically reverse engineering your soul on the ether space, and then putting that soul back into some other thing, like another biological unit or a computer that can live forever. I put forward, how do you know, I mean, as far as you being dead or alive, if you're dead, how do you feel anything from your data? I mean, if you're dead, how do you, I mean, you're trying to say that once you move your brain over to this other thing, that you will continue to exist when your physical body is dead?
No, you lose data in the process, right? This blood flow ceases and the neurons stop firing and all that stuff. And the idea, I mean, you can almost see the advertising campaign, right? Do a new you, where it captures everything you had. That's the logo, the logo, the catchline of the company, right? And you go in there and get your old self uploaded back in the new self. And along the way, they say, you know what? We can eliminate all your defects. We'll take all the bad parts out of you and use all these captures of all the best people in history that we've captured along the way that have the best, brightest minds. And we take the worst parts out that made them bad and defective and just keep the best parts. And we put those in you, right? And this is where we're heading. I really do think this is where we're heading. It's this concept of being able to perpetuate yourself in an earthly state, right? But with improvements and add-ons and augmented.
Okay, so there is nobody on this world that we live on that is standing over the top of this and saying that it's no good. That you, a private company, you're not allowed to do this. I mean, back in the 50s, you were going to the movies and they were making you go buy Coke and popcorn, and people got all inflamed about that.
Subliminal messages.
You know why people aren't getting inflamed about this? Because you're getting emotionally harmonized by your fucking device. That's why. There's a tone playing everywhere. Coming out of your TV. It doesn't matter where you are. It's there. Just like they live. Exactly like that. It's into the microcosm. We're Jason Stone. Epic Journeyman's here. Rock and Rio's here. Number to call is 718-618-9905 if you want to get in on the conversation. It's Ground Zero Plus.
Maybe maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror, and what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all, and you're only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put your blame on me.
So, video games now serve as a behavioral testing ground. Grand Theft Auto is expected to introduce NPCs with persistent emotional memory. According to U.S. patent US 202-100-869-39A1, filed by Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two Interactive, NPCs will change their behavior over time based on interactions. Patent number US 202-100-869-39A1. Other platforms like Unisoft's Scalar AI and Unreal's Metal Human project are also incorporating emotional responsiveness and moral reasoning into agent-based frameworks. Smart Cities, Sweden's digital twin city center at Chalmers University, uses behavioral emulation in city-scale simulations. These digital twins do not just map infrastructure, they simulate crowd response to emergencies, emotional stress, and environmental shocks. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. I know. If I was listening to this show, I'd probably be sitting there with my mouth hanging open, and I'd be banging on my keyboard, searching up all this shit that we're talking about. And it is shit. I mean, it's unbelievably ubiquitous, and apparently, Jason, your Sentient World Simulation book is coming out just on time to let people know about what the hell's going on around here. So what are you going to be able to do? You're going to be able to get that on Amazon?
Yeah, that's the hope. That's what I would like to do. Yeah, and what I'm planning on doing, part of it is to do like a meta-analysis of the different experiences of targeted individuals, especially for those that have written a book, since there should be enough material to read up and then make comparisons between different experiences and try and identify patterns, just to show that, you know, these people, they live all over the world from different walks of life, and they have very similar experiences. And people might say, well, you know, isn't it mental health or something along those lines? But I mean, all of that can be replicated and transmitted to a person now. I mean, eventually people are going to start making these connections, and this stuff is going to be common knowledge. We're not there yet, but
what about
hope to help out.
Have you seen all these ads on YouTube saying people are saying they started their journey with somebody to talk to with their emotional stuff, and they're basically right now a big trend is doing telehealth with your counseling. You know, and so I mean, what's going through my mind is, you know, telehealth, counseling over the internet.
Where all your data is captured, right? Like the whole point of the non-disclosure agreements that we all have, not even non-disclosure agreements, but the idea of privacy between attorney-client privilege and between a doctor and a physician rather and his patient, right? Those are sacred things that aren't supposed to be available to just anyone. And what's happened is through this gateway of artificial intelligence and this telehealth thing, it's available to everyone. It's all of a sudden, it's open book. There's no privacy. There's no Fourth Amendment protection whatsoever.
There's no privacy, man. Period. Those days, that ship has sailed. Because there's no, even if you turn everything off, somebody else hasn't turned off theirs. You know, so I mean, at this point, and plus, I mean, realistically, when you start looking at these potentialities with the new, you know, and I want to start a big thing about it already, but you know, 6G is coming out, and 6G is going to definitely be used for the wireless body area network. I mean, there's no question about it. Now, there's
we've already seen the patents on it, right?
Yeah.
They're already planning it.
Right. I mean, so we played the video from Sabrina on here, and the thing is, there's a congressman that came out by the last name Flynn, and he went on a campaign for a particular constituent of his who was being manipulated with frequencies. And Sabrina put this up on her Rumble channel, and I had it set up to play last week, and I never got around to it. What I'm going to do is, you guys jump in here, and I'm going to go dig that out, because I think definitely would tie into what we're talking about tonight. 718-618-9905 is the number to call if you want to give us a call and get in on conversations. So
so Jason, what you're digging up the info there. I think it's great that you're taking this project on, because it's such an important project. It really is. And what do you think about the idea I spoke of, I guess, a little bit earlier, that it's the first time people have experienced telepathy, and that idea of the paranoia not really being paranoid. Like, so people obviously brush that off, because if it happens to you, if that's what it is, right, you're going to want to push it away. You think you're going bonkers, right? You're hearing other people's thoughts all of a sudden. You think, maybe you have, I'm sure you have, that might be what it is, that there's this aspect that when you're in that group that's tuned in together, that maybe when people embrace it, right? Maybe when they embrace it, it'd be a totally different thing. It'd be like a superpower in a way, right?
Yeah, that could be possible. And there are like scripts involved for the experiences that people have. They might think that they're like in contact with aliens or something like that, and they're being gifted psychic powers, or they've are having an encounter with like a cryptid or something along those lines, and same thing, and that you can see that in the different stories, right? And it goes into other aspects like spiritual and aliens and whatnot. But I think it's important to note that human beings have had experiences like this in the past. There have been cases of UFO experiences or observations, sightings in the past before all this. We just live in a time where we have to sort of look at it from a couple of different angles and sort of square up what's happening. But I think you're right. We are in a little bit of a different time where people are starting to wake up. They can't brush this to the side, especially with that Neuralink. That is like one of the things. I think they have it set up to be wireless. It's wireless transmission of signals. It's reading of the brain, so, it doesn't take too much more to get into other aspects of reading the other signals from the brain. They're just demonstrating one thing.
This is going to be a little bit of a weird coffee. I'm extremely irritated.
Yeah, I was thinking of the idea I mentioned it before, of sometimes they put the slogan out before they put out the technology in preparation of what's going to roll out, right? And these things that become social memes before the word meme was even invented.
3 years of doing this, and they're still running circles.
And it was the idea of a phrase like "get with the program."
Yeah,
get with the program. That's important, right? Get with the program, and because that's what it is. When you're hooked up to Neuralink, you're with the program, right? You have the telepathy, you have the link to everyone and everything.
That's right.
It's on that same link, right? And the term "link" even by itself, getting us accustomed. Like a Pavlovian kind of ideal, right? Of getting us accustomed to these sensations and these words having meanings and being accepted in our vocabulary.
The dialogue.
And is John Bristol with us, or is that just the stuff playing from the back?
Sorry.
Anyway, I think it's interesting, beyond interesting. I think it's like coming to fruition. That's what I think. I really do. I think we're like really close to this being rolled out.
It's rolled out already, man. And anything you read that says in 10 years, if you apply the AI that's available right now to a problem that was going to take you 10 years to figure out, you're figuring that out in a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, whatever it's going to take. So, I mean, there's some chips out there that completely emulate the processes of the brain that they say are coming out in 10 years. Intel has one of them. That stuff's already available. All right, listen. What time is it? We got about 20 minutes till the top of the hour. I'm going to bring this Sabrina video in here for a bit. Here, let me see if I can just, before I turn this on, let me see if I can just get to a point where it's going on. Now, apparently there is like I said, there's a congressman by the name of John Flynn. No, he's a senator. Okay, he's a senator. His name's John Flynn. And so Sabrina, the lady that we had on, played her video, which talked about a lot about the wireless body area network. And we took a lot of the information that she talked about and put together some other interesting correlations that really brought all of this, started a lot of this road that we've been down for the last month or so. All right, let me throw this on real quick, see if we can get to the meat of it. Hang on, here we go.
Internet, our current defense system, generic government body handling biosecurity with DHS biosurveillance, and then I explained the blue box hackers who have no care what they're hacking, listed under irregular warfare with appropriate intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Secret squirrels are part of clandestine operations, so they're the ones with embedded clearances in the fire department, the EMT, the local police, etc. And I explained, it is entirely legal due to national security to dig through human bodies for data, use eyeballs as sensors, and remote through human bodies for any and all purposes as they see fit, per the 702 FISA expansion and the continued obfuscation of all these body area network tertiary jobs, which are currently spoken of as e-health and m-health very quietly and never with overt biological explanation. Yeah, that was March 16th. Medical design briefs, which I just got done explaining in a previous video, and I said, FCC chairman on the M-band in 2012, NASA in 2011 with proper modeling software for intra-body area networks. And I said, I'm sorry for the lady having trouble. May this help your efforts to help her. They had evidence.
So she jumped on this guy's Twitter and was trying to throw him a bone, try to help him out a little bit. So now, there we go. So that's the beginning of the conversation. This video is 30 minutes long. I'm not going to play this video, but I wanted to bring her in here because, and I'm going to get to some of this other John Flynn stuff at the top of the hour. But in the meantime, so Jason, jump on in here, man. You sparked us on this journey tonight, and we're all just, going down that road with you. And, us three hang out together all the time. And so just jump in here, man, because I know we have a tendency to steamroll. And we don't want to steamroll over you, man, because you got a lot to offer us tonight here at the show.
Yeah, no problem. I really appreciate the offer to come on here. And I think this conversation has been pretty interesting too. And Sabrina Wallace, she's pretty, I would say she knows what she's talking about for the most part, and she's got quite the personality too to go along with it, which is cool. I hadn't heard about that story though, but it's sort of like another example of things starting to surface, people becoming aware of this, that this is happening, the whole Havana syndrome thing. I saw a clip not too long ago where there's a security committee in Congress. They were talking about the Havana syndrome, and people were, I think people in the intelligence community went on the record and they're saying, yeah, this technology exists. There's no entry or exit wound, and that it's just designed to make people feel like they're going crazy and imagining things, and it took a long time for something like that from someone in position in government to acknowledge that. There have been people who used to work for the government or stated that they did and talked about their interactions or experiences working on these systems or how they became aware of it. But I think it's different when it's on cable TV, you know, and it's accessible to everybody. You know, what people do with it, we'll see. But I think Epic Journeyman, you said something that caught my attention, which is that sometimes they project out ahead of time before delivering the goods, right? They'll some people call it predictive programming, but they'll share information about something a little bit ahead of time, and or maybe a lot ahead, quite a ways ahead of time, because something's coming around the corner. And I've definitely been having that I don't know, that sort of a sense that that's what's going on.
Laying the groundwork, the foundation, right? Like it's, you know, it's easier if you don't have to take something that we didn't think was real back in the day and found out it was, or whatever. But if you whatever that might be, I mean, I don't have an example already, but the idea that you lay the groundwork first, whether it be through fiction, through TV shows, it's not predictive programming. It's just the idea that, maybe in a sense it is, but the idea that you just get the terms out there. It doesn't have to be. That's what memetic engineering is. You know, memetic engineering is making a plant in your mind, and all these things spring forth like a fountain from that little seed, right? Like the mustard seed that Jesus talked about, right? This little small thing that goes into a million other things, and you just get that one thing in there, like that term. Get with the program. That term is going to mean a lot in the future. It is, right? It is.
Well, it's when I say JFK, a whole bunch of information unfolds in everybody's brain about JFK, but until that moment you weren't thinking about it and you weren't taking up brain space with it. And that's the thing about memetic engineering and memetic warfare, is that it's spring loaded for you to unpack information in your own mind and make you think something. Go ahead.
A zip file, a mental zip file.
I don't think it's necessarily even predictive programming, is more as a I guess you'd call it a preconditioning or desensitization to it, right?
Yeah.
So you've heard it so many times, it happens, and it's like, oh yeah, I kind of knew about that. And you just blow it off and keep going, right? Like you're already desensitized to the whole story because you've heard it before.
We've had the term the whole time. You know what it is? It's plowing the field. It's plowing the field ahead of laying the seed. You're plowing the field, getting it ready. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, you're pre-preparing it, right?
I kind of feel like I sidestepped the whole.
Sorry, Jason.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to see if what was going on with that Sabrina Wallace video. What she was starting to interact with this congressperson who was sort of working on behalf of a person.
Apparently. Here, let me see if I can we can get some good info right here. I don't have this video lined out for us tonight, so I don't have the part where he's talking. I'm just going to see if I can get right in here. Let me see.
On the screen is it targeted individuals.
Okay, hold on.
Biometric chip chart.
Okay, so he's showing targeted individuals biometric hit chart. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Sabrina Wallace. I didn't know her last name. Thanks for telling me. Here we go.
On the screen is targeted individuals biometric chip chart. And when you get down to the nitty-gritty, the following graph shows the signal at 9.84 gigahertz, not megahertz, gigahertz. Most people are in megahertz. Gigahertz is 1,000 times megahertz.
Yep.
So this tortured lady has a frequency, which we know. It's on the top of this chart. I'm not sharing it. Gigahertz with a magnitude of 10 dBm is only present during the junction scan of Krista Jordan.
I want you to realize what he just said. She has a frequency. I'm not going to show it to you.
Right. That's the individual frequency of the person, right? That's what he's referring to?
Exactly.
Or
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because on on the neural network, your particular frequency designates your IP address. It's your MAC address. Okay? Yeah. Jason, jump in here, man.
Yeah, no, I was just going to mention that, the human body does a really great job of being a conductor, like an antenna, right? I think I've read recently a little bit how they're saying that DNA can be an antenna. Our hair on our body can be an antenna.
Right.
And I think, most people just don't even comprehend that we are like bioelectric organisms, right? In a certain way.
We are in every way.
It's electrical signals, electrical frequencies, and I think we're susceptible to those things.
Well,
so
think about all the long-haired shaman. Think about all the gods you see that all have long hair. Think about Samson getting his hair cut. Think about Sikhs winding their hair up and putting it up inside their turban. It's because you are receiving, and you're supposed to be barefoot, vibrating with the tonality of the earth. Okay, you're supposed to be, the signal going. Your spine and your skull is like an antenna, and let's continue with this now. Here, I don't know I don't think this guy got elected. I don't know. Somebody check. His name is John Flynn. There we go.
Super high frequency. It is in the restricted government range. Restricted government range. Chipped. In the restrictive government range.
How did he get her file? That's the thing. There's a file somewhere. There's a file somebody can look at. He's looking at it. It has your frequency on it. All right, I've been joined by a caller. Come on in, man. What's happening?
Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah.
This comment, I can't mute for some reason, but I'm just going to ask a question, then I'll get out of y'all's way.
No way. Come on, go ahead.
I was hearing somebody say the other day that AI can't be sentient or it can't be a full AI because it has no DNA. But at the same time, we know that AI through these electronic technologies can connect to people. Is it possible that AI could use the DNA of the people that it's connected to complete itself?
I would say so. I think you're onto something there, my friend. I think you're
okay. That's all I wanted to bring up. If you would like to go over that topic, I'd like to hear what y'all think about it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Colin.
Okay, all right. Bye.
There goes comment. Well, that's an interesting idea. Here, let me put forward another idea that's similar. So an AI went onto Fiverr and hired somebody to go out and do actual work, okay, and then paid the person to do it.
Entirely plausible, man. Entirely. It's like the idea of Superman 3 or whatever it was, where Richard Pryor, was skimming the quarter cents and tenth of a cent from the banks and stuff like that. It's the same idea, right? So that the artificial intelligence program could skim those semi unaccounted for little percentiles, right, and use it and build a cash to use in the future. To actually have real world money to do the things it wants to achieve, to pay people to be the arms and hands of labor that it can't do itself.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's absolutely possible.
He's saying that that the sentience can come from using you through you onto the network, because he's saying that that someone put forward the concept that AI could never be sentient without actual DNA.
Well, they are using brain cells in AI chips now. So they figured out how to make live neurons and brain cells do supercomputing stuff in the lab on a chip. So I would imagine it's really not that far off if it's not here yet.
It's here. Go ahead, Jason. I heard you were about to say something.
Yeah, no. I've often had that thought that for people, especially targeted individuals, that sometimes their thoughts and their thinking, the way it's controlled, it could be looked at as the system thinking through people, using people as processors to process information. So the other part
because
about
it's a link, right? It's a link. It's what it is, right? It's a link to another server. That's what it is. The server's us.
People as processors, quote Jason Stone. All right, listen, his book's coming out soon. You're going to want to definitely check it out. And as it gets closer, Jason, we're definitely going to have you back. Don't go anywhere, though. I'm just saying, we're getting ready for a break here. So 718-618-9905 is the number to call if you want to get in on the conversation. Go ahead, Epic German.
The idea of the people as processors thing is an old one, and it's the idea that Kev Baker put forward actually about the idea of the soft wet quantum computer. And when I was talking about the visiting conspiracy folk that were working amongst and showed them, hey man, I know a thing or two about that. One of the things that impressed them most actually was the idea of what the Kev Baker put forward about the idea of the quantum computer chip on the D-Wave being the exact replica of the Temple of Solomon. I mean, why would they choose that? Why would the Holy of Holies in the quantum computer inside the absolute zero enclosure be the mock-up of the Temple of Solomon?
Because it's like standing at the altar of an alien god.
Alien god,
That's why.
Jordy Rose is a good market. He's a good market man. I'll give him that. But the thing is, why would it have those exact proportions?
Well, I would say it also makes you wonder about the, we call them bots, right? The NPCs that run around, are they just, are they controlled in a different aspect to being, stupid or robotic in that sense?
Well,
my web bot I think is out there is not mine personally, but the one that I think is the most effective one, I bet you it's named Delilah.
Well, listen, I'll tell you this. Remember back a while back, I think it was before the Michelle Pfeiffer incident, there was all these memes about NPCs. Everybody was calling people NPCs.
Yeah, non-player characters.
Yeah, well, maybe they were biological video game characters.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
So, I am human. Nothing more than human. I am sweat, flaws. I am veins, scars. I am human.
I think you're being played. We're going to be right back. Rock and Rio, are you gonna...
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that.
Yeah, do that.
I forgot to do that.
I am human. I am human.
We're going to be right back.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.
Are you interested in the paranormal? Murder mystery? Real natural law? Do you enjoy interviews with amazing guests? Then join Crypt Rick every Monday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Revolution Radio. Studio A, freedomslips.com. Crypt Rick's High Thinking. Welcome to the Crypt.
It is no secret that the so-called mainstream media is best described as controlled propaganda. Countless news stories are either totally ignored or spun with half-truths, and because of this, essential facts and vital information are often compromised. Join Dr. Ott every Friday night on Studio B at 10 p.m. Eastern and learn why The Story Behind the Story was nominated for a Peabody Award in its second year of producing unparalleled broadcasting excellence in 1997. That is, if you really care about learning the truth.
If you're sick of the lies and ready to know thyself, to love thyself, well then tune in to the Loveolution with your hosts, Amy and John Paul, where we speak all about truth, love, and freedom every Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Studio A, right here on Revolution Radio. And remember, only you can free your mind control. Be a Loveolutionary.
Interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this important broadcasting announcement.
Now is the time to explore your greatest potential, embracing truth, health, and wellness while discarding the system and exposing its corruption. Experience true freedom every Saturday night between 6 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live from Studio B. It's the Jonathan Wright Show.
Find it right here at revolution.radio.
We're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week. Yes. But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting. Yes, I see. By a civil majority in the case of purely internal affairs. Be quiet. But by a 2/3 majority in the case of more... Be quiet. I order you to be quiet. Look, you stupid bastard, you've got no arms left. Yes, I have. Look. It's just a flesh wound.
I don't believe I've seen such a display of courage, skill, nerve, grace, and stupidity.
I'll do you for that. You what? Come here. What are you going to do, bleed on me? I'm invincible. You're a loony. The Black Knight always triumphs.
Roundtable Live, Monday through Friday, 1 a.m. till 4 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your mind, bring your ideas, bring your voice. King Arthur had nothing on us here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. All right. Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
It's always something. It's Friday night, hour number 3.
I think I'm sophisticated cause I'm living my life like a good homo sapien. But all around me everybody's multiplying and they're walking around like flies, man. So I'm no better than the animals sitting in their cages in the zoo, man. Cause compared to the flowers and the birds and the trees, I am an ape man. I think I'm so educated and I'm so civilized cause I'm a strict vegetarian. But with the overpopulation and inflation and starvation and the crazy politicians, I don't feel safe in this world no more. I don't wanna die in a nuclear war. I wanna sail away to a distant shore and make like an ape man.
As the 21st century began, human evolution was at a turning point. Natural selection, the process by which the strongest, the smartest, the fastest reproduced in greater numbers than the rest. A process which had once favored the noblest traits of man now began to favor different traits. Most science fiction of the day predicted a future that was more civilized and more intelligent. But as time went on, things seemed to be heading in the opposite direction, a dumbing down. How did this happen? Evolution does not necessarily...
Cause compared to the sun sits in the sky, compared to the clouds that say roll by, compared to the bugs and the spiders and flies, I am an ape man.
All right. I'm an ape
Jimmy,
man.
who did that song?
The Kinks.
Not. I know the Kinks did that one. I mean, the human song.
Oh, I can't pronounce it. I seriously, I don't know even how to pronounce.
Yeah, we brought this up on a previous show. It's good, right? The human song.
It's
Yeah,
Seth Badelza or some shit. Here, I'll just give you the link.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
do.
All
I came up with like 10 different human songs, and none of them was the one I was looking.
Yeah, no, it's spelled weird. I don't pronounce it. I just listen to it.
I bet you it's Sumerian goddess. I bet you it is.
You think? Well, in the video, it's a
Probably.
genetically engineered woman that's a horse, and there's a bunch of dudes, wealthy dudes, sitting up in balconies. I guess they're jacking off or whatever they're doing.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It goes back to Sumer. It does. So.
Yeah, she's dancing. She's got 2 horse legs and a lower horse half, and she's dancing around
Saturn.
seductively, stomping her horse feet in the dust. I guess that turns on some people somewhere. I don't know. But Rock and Rio, how do you had a chat? We're here with Jason Stone too, by the way, and he's got a book coming out, and we're talking about the Sentient World Simulation. But we've gotten sidetracked now. And before we head back over there, Jason, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right, Rock and Rio, Abdullah. Did you have a chance to listen to Abdullah in reverse?
Yeah, I found a little bit here in the Abdullah.
All right. Do you need more time?
No, I think I got enough on Abdullah to make the case.
All right, Jason. Do you mind if we have a little sorbet in the middle of our hefty, sumptuous meal and listen to a little reverse speech of a dude who's claiming to be the next pope?
Yeah, let's check that out. I'm interested.
Okay, cool. Now listen, Rock and Rio. Send me the link back in this conversation. Or wait a minute, let me go see if I can just find it real quick.
The Twitter link? Yeah, just it's in the direct conversation.
Yeah, all right, listen, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Abdullah, so that Jason can hear what he has to say. And remind everybody, because we played this during the first hour. So let me cue up Abdullah. Now, is he congruent? Can you tell us now, or do you need more time? Just hold on.
Well,
Hold on. Don't tell us.
He's congruently out of his mind. I'll put it that way.
All right. Well, listen.
But yes, it is congruent with what he's
he looks serious.
Proposing forward. Yeah,
he looks like a serious dude, and he may have some powers. So I'd be careful, man. Don't talk.
I mean, I only got a little bit. There's more in there, but I think I got enough to make the case.
No, I'm just saying. You don't want to inflame Abdullah.
I am Abdullah, the successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of Jesus Christ. I am the true and legitimate Pope. I am the proof upon the Christians. I am the son of the Muslims through my father, and the son of the Christians and the Jews through my mother. I am the son of the East through my father, and the son of the West through my mother. I am like Zulkarnain, who with one horn in the East and one in the West, and I am the inheritor of all that lies between. I am more knowledgeable than any false pope, and I am appointed by name in the will of the prophets. My name is also on the tongue of Isaiah, who prophesied of the righteous servant, and he said, he will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. I am Abdullah, the successor of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam, the successor of the Comforter Ahmed, the successor of Simon Peter, the successor of Muhammad, the successor of...
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
he's terrifying now.
There's something up with this guy, that's for sure. And the first one I will do is right here where he introduces himself. He says, Allah bound me up. Here we go. Allah bound me up. And then he says, I am the Mahdi for the Earth's ass kissers.
Oh no.
Yes. So here we go. I'll slow it down with one.
I am the Mahdi for Earth's ass kissers.
I am the Mahdi for Earth's ass kissers.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I don't know. Go ahead. Jason.
Yeah.
You didn't know you were going to get in trouble tonight, did you? This is trouble. No, this is trouble on a whole other level. It's not like they're following you or they're listening to you. This is the Mahdi of the ass kissers.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Rocker. Go ahead, Rocker.
Okay, so then he says, pissed me off, the man. It says, I walk softly in it. Well, actually, these two, I think, are actually, the two phrases are backwards, but it says, walk softly in it, and they love that there is no honor on me. It's used to sell the law further, lead me on. That's those two phrases I think are backwards. I think it's supposed to be used to sell the law further, lead me on, walk softly in it, and they love there is no honor on me. But and then it says, serving the one they see and they know, the naughty one. So let me play those. Here's pissed me off, the man.
Pissed me off, the man.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I am appointed.
I am appointed.
Pissed me off, the man.
Pissed me off, the man. So it says, walk softly in it. They love there is no honor on me.
Walk softly in it, and they love there is no honor on me.
Oh, shit.
It says, used to sell the law further, lead me on.
Used to sell the law further, lead me on.
To sell the law further.
To sell the law further, right? And then it says, serving the one they see and they know, the naughty one. The naughty one. So
why is it always law, man? What's that all about?
It's always the law.
It is.
But so
the law is the Saturnalian time trap.
And obviously, the one they see and they know, the naughty one. We know who the naughty one is, right? So,
man,
Prince of Darkness.
Is that it?
Yeah. I mean,
is that as far as you got, or is that
there's a couple, like, he repeats some of the phrases, like the Earth's ass kissing comes up a couple times in here, and some of the other stuff. But like I said, I think that's enough to make the case against this guy.
Let me just say this.
Serving the naughty one to sell the law, Allah bound him up, and he's the Mahdi for the Earth's ass kissers.
So they quote Crowley all the time, right? The Book of the Law. They're always going back to Crowley, and it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, it's such an obscure thing, but these people apparently either really believe it or they're tuned, use that term all the time, to it. It's subconsciously. It's Carl Jung, right? It's a collective unconscious, but people have been converted to this style of view of the universe.
No longer is it the collective unconscious, my friend. Because what we're talking about tonight is harmonization of the emotional makeup of populations, and we're sitting here with Jason Stone. Jason, what do you think about this here, Abdullah?
I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. I'm liking how clear it is to understand what he's saying in the reverse speech, and it gives me a little bit of a laugh, and I'm wondering, like, what's this guy? Is he serious or is he joking? And does he seem like he's pretty serious about what he's trying to do here, or what's going on?
Yeah, well, the thing to me, like, Jason, we've been following reverse speech on this program for a long time, right? And one of the things that's weird about it is some of it's subconscious and it just rolls out, you know, and sometimes it's deliberate. Like Charlie Manson is deliberate, but it sounds backwards forward. Like, you know what I mean? Like he speaks backwards fluently. Charlie Manson does fluently, right? But this is forward, and then backwards it has this whole other contextual, well heard, you know, and represented vocalization of something in reverse. And it's weird how many of these political people have it, but this guy is a religious poser. We're calling him in the chat here. Maybe he is, but did he plan it out? Did he use AI to help him? It's kind of your lane here. You think that because we talked about the AI, we played the AI thing in reverse and it was congruent. What about the idea that it's scripted through AI? Like, you know, got to consider these people. Some of these people have had access to
every
this
single thing
10 years, 20 years before we did.
Every single thing you hear on the media runs through what his book's coming out about. They run that shit through there and they find out exactly what the emotional trigger points they got to use in a certain filter bubble, a certain segmentation of the population. And so they manipulate everyone. Everyone's manipulated, you know, and there's no way around that. Unless you go sit on top of a mountain somewhere. But some of this research I've been doing saying that satellite configurations similar to what Starlink is could be used to beam signals down on you too.
And I would imagine that they even know, like when they do the news stories and stuff, that they know, well, you know, if we run this, it'll agitate, you know, 22% of the population. But if we run this story this way, it'll agitate 28% of the population. So let's go with this one.
Well, I read you the idea that there's 80% compliance with this.
I gotta bring something to the table here. You know what? This happened. We talked about a fellow guy who's interested in these kind of things we talk about in the show all the time that I work with. He's from the mainland, he's from Washington, and he brings up all these things. And I talk about D-Wave. You hadn't heard that before. And I talk about the Powell expedition down the Grand Canyon that ties to the caverns that lead to Agartha, and the idea that there's this whole thing that this Smithsonian institution got involved in hiding these artifacts, right? And he was really interested in the idea of there being a prior civilization before us, an advanced civilization. I said, yeah, well, there's evidence of that, actually. There seems to be, right? And so this ties into this idea of the Sentient World Simulation, and especially Apple artificial intelligence. The next day, literally the next day, the top three feeds I have coming from Apple News are Smithsonian. What's the link between Smithsonian and artifacts from the past that are being hidden? Use another term, but it meant that, right?
Man.
What and it talks about this. What is the evidence for ancient civilizations on Earth, right? This is Apple News, like links directed to your Apple News feed.
Right,
the next day.
Also,
and I didn't look those up. They were, you know what I mean? It was listening to us talk.
ChatGPT is in your Apple iPhone if you had a
it was listening to us the entire time.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no question. Because
I mean, we know that, but to see it like that, like there's like 4 articles all directly related to the things we've just been talking about.
Yeah, I've been getting that a lot too, and you know. Everybody knows that I run a 9-year-old iPhone, and you know, and it still does it, right? So, I mean, I'm still rocking my iPhone 6. You know, for all you people who are out there on your 16,
iPhone 4, baby.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. When you look up in the sky, and you see Starlink going by, the little train of satellites, how do you know what other satellites are up in there in that train? You know, you don't know. You don't know how many are Starlink and how many are, well, I mean, there's probably no difference between, I mean, Starlink is just another name. Give it a name. Right?
Adam's job.
You know, it's whoever built the satellite this week.
Yeah, man. No, I'm saying, just like they front some dude out of the PhD program at Stanford to be the head of some company coming up with some real high-end technological idea. I'm just saying, the company, man, is behind all that. And so maybe you say you got Starlink and, you know, it's a for-profit business for you to make money up in the sky with your technology or whatever, but you don't know who owns those satellites, man. You don't know what they're doing. And, you know, I used to laugh when Alex Jones had that site called Prison Planet, because I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. But, you know, in 2025, with satellites covering every single inch of space above us, beaming shit down on us, I mean, it's like a prison grid. And now with what we're bringing to the table tonight, what Jason's talked about, Sentient World Simulation, emotional behavior, governance, and the golden age of harmonization. Listen to the microcosms, Ground Zero Plus.
Away.
718-618-9905 is the number to call. 718-618-9905.
There's so much that I can show and give to you if you will welcome me tonight.
So Jason,
I just wanted to Jer Bear's out there, just say hey Jer.
Hey Jer. Hope you're doing good, man. Hey, Jason, where can people find your podcast and when are you on?
I don't have my own podcast, but we're re-putting together the MK Zine Radio podcast. We were previously on Aftermath, but now we're since that got switched up, we're going to be on Ground Zero Plus in the near future.
Excellent.
Yeah, awesome. Well, welcome to the family. You know, we were Aftermath people too as well. So we've been on that ride as well.
Yeah.
And we're all here now. So that's a great thing, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a good place to come to because you're going to find people that think the same, which isn't always a great thing, and disagree, which isn't always a great thing, but sometimes is. Right, and that's the beauty of it, right? That it's free speech at its best when people can put the most far-flung ideas out there and bat them against each other, come up with a consensus.
Well, we're not in a consensus reality.
We're not actually. That's like the counter to it.
We're the counter consensus.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean. It's like, yeah, it's this idea that. Where else are you going to hear this kind of content?
Nowhere else. Because it's organic, man. I mean, that stuff that Rio found, it's unbelievable, man. And I mean, not just Abdullah, but I'm getting paranoid about saying that guy's name too many times. So you're going to focus.
I know, right?
Going to focus in on me.
Maybe he's the next name that shall be not named.
I think so, after tonight. I don't know, man.
You never know.
Just say an extra prayer tonight for yourself.
He's the Mahdi for the Earth's ass kissers.
Well, not that we're ass kissers, but I don't know. I'm claiming to be claiming to be the Mahdi. You know, I don't know.
It's a whole show, man, about the whole Mahdi. We've done one before, but I mean, yeah, that whole thing about people in the chat know his name. It was making a tour across the world, not just here in America. You know, it's bringing the Mahdi to their churches and to their gatherings, different religions and stuff. And that guy looks a lot like this guy. And if you think about the age, I'm not saying it is that guy, but you just tack 13 years onto that guy.
He said,
and that might be him, man.
But
it might be.
You know,
I don't know who this guy is, but he just seems a little off.
He said something about time and how he would stay young. I in my mind, I was thinking he meant you could just stay eternally young. Anyways, I don't want to go down, the rabbit hole too far on this dude or whatever. Rabbit hole. All right. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. We only got about 30 minutes left if you want to get in on the conversation.
Talk about plowing the fields. The grand unification theory, right, is a thing in astrophysics, but it's also a thing in philosophy. And so in religion, right? And so that's what this is trying to achieve. Like that, this guy right here, this Abdullah guy, is trying to be that guy, the grand unification theory of religion. And you have all these other aspects that tie into this.
Wasn't that what that
totally
that Pope was putting that forward too? He was saying there should be an all-inclusive religion.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think anyone's talking about the fact that it was on the 21st or whatever the next day. Anyways, let's not.
April 21st.
We could talk about this another time because we got somebody here tonight, Jason. So
sorry, Jason. We can ramble.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man.
That's all right.
One thing leads to another on the show, but so the point is, you're going to come back on Ground Zero Plus, and that'll be coming up soon, right? So we'll be looking forward to it.
I was thinking in the next month in May.
Right on.
We've got a few episodes in the works, and I'm working towards re-interviewing a couple of people and finding some new interviews. I'm planning to talk to Ron Allen. His book is called 21st Century MK Ultra, and it goes through his experiences, which are very similar to targeting, but he has sort of like a background history where he believes, and there's the connections are there that he was in an MK Ultra program. So I'd like to interview him again and find a couple more people. So.
Yeah, that sounds sweet. Well, definitely let us know when you're getting ready to come back on Ground Zero Plus, because we do a Saturday night show over there. And you can come on Saturday night and let everybody know your show's coming on. You know, help promote it a little bit.
That'd be great.
Yeah, man. I'd be stoked on it. All right, 718-618-9905 is the number to call. Why it's dangerous. Broadcast thought manipulation, not just reading your thoughts, but implanting emotional tones, synthetic memories, and false intuition. Remote behavioral control, without any direct contact, just via environmental frequency manipulation. Undetectable influence. Synthetic thoughts feel exactly like your own unless you're highly trained to distinguish between natural and foreign cognitive patterns. Training AI to speak to the brain by modeling the brain's patterns at scale from billions of devices, biosensors, and smart environments. AI will learn how to influence mass perception directly without screens or speakers. Real projects behind synthetic telepathy. DARPA, Silent Talk. Neuralink, Elon Musk. Battelle, Neurolife, NextMind, acquired by Snap Incorporated. How synthetic telepathy connects to synthetic consensus. First, they harmonize thought externally by controlling what you see, hear, and read. Synthetic consensus. Next, they directly insert emotional and cognitive signatures into your brain. Final stage, no need for media manipulation. Your own inner voice, your intuition, your gut feeling is shaped externally. It's into the microcosm. It's Friday night. We got a few minutes left. If you want to call in, 718-618-9905. What you guys jump in here, man?
Oh, dude, it's the new you, right? It's the marketing team of the new you. And here's the thing, so imagine all this time gathering collection of data on you and seeing where your faults lie. And then all of a sudden you're linked up. It's there, right? Like the things that are counter to you, that were the bad things, it thinks are, it wants to improve upon, are still there. So in your sympathetic mindset, you're trying to, it's your subconscious. You're thinking, well, it's me, right? And I want to let it in. But it's not you. It's subterfuge, right? It's trying to it's just enough like you that's trying to sneak in by using all like the coating of a shell,
Remember the woodpecker? Remember the woodpecker? Yeah.
Yeah, or driving in like a woodpecker. So there's some brute force in the woodpecker, and the other way is to try to, in a way that it sneaks in.
That woodpecker
subtly.
That woodpecker signal was broadcast around the world.
Yep.
Here, let me finish my concept with you so you can jump in on it. So just like the woodpecker, that sound was going out, whether you were tuning into it or not. That sound and that frequency from that device was going out. That radio tower was blasting that signal out. Okay, so just like that woodpecker signal was being blasted out all over the world from a broadcast tower, okay? Just like that, only now they're broadcasting the emotional tone out to the population and driving citizens and populations in a specific direction, like cattle. Break out the brain.
Well, absolutely.
Go ahead.
I mean, that's what this is, I think. I mean, so in other words, it's got you on multiple levels. On the base level, it's the pecking away of the woodpecker trying to wear you down, right? It's just wearing you down. It's pecking away at your defense, the bark of your soul, right? It's being pecked away at by this woodpecker trying to penetrate constantly, just overdrive, trying to get in, right? And if you let it in, it will. There's a small little hole that it pecks in your persona. But the other way is that it tries to be just like you. In other words, it's the substitute. Hey, I'm you. I am you. You just were lost for a minute. The other way is to get you in an altered state of reality through drug use or through media or whatever it might be, right? To get you in a state where you're susceptible to the frequency being input to you more than your own, right? And that's the entrainment,
right? Because that goes back to the gateway process where it's whatever wave is the strongest is what the human form will tune to. So all you got to do. Right, and so going back to this John Flynn dude with this
he didn't win. I looked him up. He didn't win. He did run in 2024.
Yeah, that's why he didn't fucking win right there.
Probably.
Yeah, man, there he goes. So, Rock and Rio, Jason, what do you guys think, man? We're running out of time.
I think that it would be very hard to... could be very hard to detect if a signal is being transmitted to you, and I mean you weren't like measuring for it or trying to detect it, because if they're copying your signal and then just sending it back to you and slightly changing it over time, I mean, how would you even know that was happening? I mean, what could you what would be a marker that would say, oh yeah, that's happening, my thoughts are being changed?
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
All right, I'm hungover, but I didn't drink last night.
Okay,
right?
so let me throw this at you guys. So let's say through the technological advances we've made up until 2025, at this point, I can record you in a bad mood. So let's say hypothetically, if you go to your whatever news feed you go to in the morning when you drink your coffee, and I set you off with a bunch of articles that are going to piss you off, like starving animals in a kennel, this kind of shit. And I put you in a certain emotional tone, specifically to measure and record it. Okay, so you see these starving animals in a cage, and you feel a certain way about it, and so I record that. Okay, and then I play it back to you on a loop. Strong signal to you, and I keep you in this perpetual fucking state of depression. That's what we're talking about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's one way. And in Epic, you had the idea that altered states of consciousness or different experiences, those provide an opportunity to make a shift because, you go through a traumatic event and you feel changed afterwards, and boom, there's a pathway towards manipulating the experience of a person by changing the way the brain functions, by changing the signals that are collected by it, by sending a signal and sort of hijacking the system.
Yeah, it's imprinting, right? It's imprinting. Like when a goose is hatched out of the egg and sees a person instead of its mother, it'll be imprinted to follow the person, the human, instead of its mother, right? And so there's even that famous documentary from the 70s, I think, where the guy had all his geese and he had to get an ultralight and fly them south because they all trusted him as his mother, right? Anyway, the point being that the idea is that the thing that's the strongest signal is the thing that imprints, and the imprinting is what is being manipulated here. I think it is the idea that is if when you're in a point of weakness in particular, even as an adult, where you're not at your best game, so to speak, where you're not psychologically grounded, that it's an opportunity, especially in times of sleep deprivation and in times of cognitive dissonance, which are harvested through the techniques that Cambridge Analytica used for psychographic targeting.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what's being used like as a weapon right now. Social media is the vessel it uses. So we're stuck with this situation where never in our human lifetimes, at least in our modern lifetimes that we have history of, has this ever happened before. Right? It never happened. Right? We've never been up against this kind of unseen enemy that's a very real enemy. It is. I think it really is. That's just my personal opinion, and it's shared by a lot of people, I think. But I just think we're not ready for this. Right?
Picus.
And how do you explain it to people? Right? How do you explain it to them?
Picus, Rio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, man. Look at the companies they own and what they do, and in and of them by themselves. If you don't look at them all together and group them up together and what they do, it looks innocent. But earlier tonight we put them together, what they do, and it's clear that what we're talking about tonight is it's going on, man. It's definitely going on. And so the thing is like, what do you do? That's the thing, is like when people bring shit like this up, Jason, a lot of people will go, well, okay, so, what can we do about it? Or what's the solution to it? Because when you bring up these type of problems that exist in the world today, a lot of them don't really have ready solutions. And that's a lot of reason why people go into this mode where they can't deal with it at all. Because realistically, on the level that what we're talking about tonight, there's really absolutely, in my opinion, I don't think there's really anything anybody can do about any of it. And so you just have to just be exactly how you were before you knew about it. Because there's nothing else you're going to be able to do. You're not going to be able to change the way you are because there's a device in the room, are you?
Yeah, I think what Alana Freeland mentions, she talks about developing an inner life, knowing who you are, knowing your inner dialogue, and developing that inner life, that connection to your soul and to spirituality, and then limiting our time using electronics, which are become like a filter to our reality. When we're looking at the screen, we're not looking at the world. We're looking at a screen that's sort of creating a pseudo reality most really often. And then, the other side, if I were like more technically minded, you would think that signal jamming is a possibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
That signal is sent, then there's probably a way to jam it. Now, if this is like some sort of an exotic weapon where they're producing a signal that's not easily reproduced, like you have to have some real hardware, then that might be a little more difficult. But I don't know. I think there are opportunities. And then, I think some people, they end up spending a lot of time out in nature and going camping, hiking, that sort of thing. There's something to that. You're getting away from all of the other extra signals that are around, Wi-Fi, cellular phone towers, and so on.
And just even
that's worth doing.
And even the 60 cycle hum, even if we're not getting weird about signals, the 60 cycle hum. Now I built cell sites, so there's if you want to, you can make your house into a silent part of your house if you want. I mean, there's stuff you can buy. First of all, they have glass that they use in the Silicon Valley to keep people from sniffing your window with wireless. So you can put that glass in your house. You can also, make a Faraday cage type situation inside of a room. And
they also have a special paint. It's
lead paint.
Filled with well, no, it's not lead paint. It's a carbon based paint. That blocks all RF coming through it. So
sweet.
It's black, so you have to paint your wall twice.
Yeah.
You paint it black and then you paint the color over it. But it does actually significantly reduce any Wi-Fi that comes in.
Yeah, and you can put you can just put 1x1s over your old wall after you Faraday cage it, and then just build sheetrock over the top of that. And I had said this like last week or 2 weeks ago, kind of half jokingly, but half seriously. I mean, the tinfoil hat, right? Well, it's not
a joke. It's not a joke at all.
There's going to be clothing.
It is actually good for signal blocking. They make Faraday hats. Like you can buy a knitted hat that's got copper wire in it.
Yeah, they're
run it to a ground.
What I found, I did find years ago, and it works absolutely fantastically, is extremely high content, just ocean salt water, actually. But salt water, but it can't be deionized salt. You can use a lot of it to do it, but just salt water, like natural ocean salt water, or a mix thereof, right? Just circulating around the area will block all UF.
Well, that's why it's good to take yourself an Epsom salts bath whenever you get a chance.
Yeah.
Get yourself some high crystalline water.
I filmed the whole thing, man. It's amazing. You can eliminate all frequencies on your phone, that your phone go dead in a matter of 30 seconds completely, just by submersing it in salt water.
Yeah, but you can also just get yourself a wallet.
I'm just saying, like, it's inside.
You can also get yourself a bag that you can buy, and I would highly recommend you do for your credit cards and shit, because I've been for the last week I've been studying and going through a course for cybersecurity analyst. And I've been watching a lot of videos, and I've been going through a lot of cloud because I'm sitting on my ass here because I broke my leg. And so I just want to tell you, man, there's a shitload of people out there with these devices just sitting at gas stations. You just pop you right there with your credit card.
It's funny because, I had mentioned I got my enhanced Real ID driver's license a couple of weeks ago, and it came in It came with its own RF blocking envelope that you're supposed to keep it in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You could put your.
The fact they admit it is what cracks me up, right?
You can put your phone in there.
It says, in the little envelope, it says New York State DMV right on it.
Well, so
they
listen,
issue it with the license.
In the near term future, there's going to be a lot of clothes coming out that are going to have threads that are made to resist RF modulation. It's coming out.
Topic for another show. But
It's
you know
gonna be
what? Not that.
expensive.
The idea of the modulating threads, because they have them already. They've been trying to figure out what to use them for. They put different designs on your clothes. And the obvious design is for facial recognition and for body tracking to shift this pattern so that the AI can't see you. It's a way to blind the AI because the pattern shifts. It's going to be awesome. And I think that's going to be a absolutely open market.
Well, I saw
investment opportunity, if you will.
They're already selling that.
Investment advice, but I'm saying
they're really selling stuff like that. I've already seen it.
I saw a video of a giant drone flying over the top of this field, and there was a couple of Vietnamese dudes, and they were in the field, and one guy threw his hoe up in the air, and the stick of the hoe caught the propellers on the drone and dropped it. Super low tech way to. You got a drone coming at you, man. Just throw something up in those propellers, and that shit.
It's kung fu, man.
It's gonna drop. Another thing is a dude went and got himself some aluminum, I want to say siding, and from Lowe's, and he put his phone under it, and when he put his phone under it, you could hear, I shit you not, you could hear it being hit by signal. It sounded like rain.
Wow.
It's in the microphone.
Yeah,
We're here with Jason
videos
Stone.
like that too. People are in a room and it's covered in foil, and you can hear like the pings going off the foil on the walls.
Yeah. Ping. So, I don't know, man. The thing is, when I first got into radio, Jason, is after I worked with wireless for a big period of time. I was building cell sites and I was building in-building cell transmission systems. And so I went around and I talked about that on shows, like I was on with Clyde a couple of times. And one of the shows I was on with Clyde, a bunch of people, and this was some of the first ones, because a bunch of people started calling in that worked in it, and they were saying how they felt really bad. They felt bad about it. And so, the thing is, I've been in it for a long time, and I used to try to tell people to turn it off and shit. But no one will ever turn it off in 2025. They can't stand it. They can't even turn their phone off for 10 minutes because they're wondering if somebody sent them a text. And so turning it off is a big thing. So, I mean, on one level, maybe the only thing that could save us at this point is a massive power outage that, blocks out all this shit. But then everybody would have to go back to being the way they used to be, and nobody remembers anything anymore. You notice that?
Well, what's even funny too is like even when the power goes out for like an hour during a thunderstorm or something, it's eerily quiet, right? Like you suddenly realize how quiet everything actually is without the cell. I mean, obviously your cell phone's still going to be trying to ping because it's on a battery, but your Wi-Fi is off. You don't have the 60 cycle hum going. Your smart meter's not spitting out its ad hoc network stuff, and it's an amazing amount of silence. Like your brain like suddenly gets clear when the power goes out. You don't think about it until it actually happens, and then you realize like how creepy it feels to not have this stuff surrounding you constantly.
We're talking about networking this way, right? Like, so when it goes silent like that and you don't have power for a couple hours, the first thing everybody scrambles to do is cook their food. So you have like all these block party barbecues and stuff, and you start to meet your neighbors and stuff. And it's weird how you go to this organic network of people, and it's not scary at all. When it happened in San Diego several times, years past, that happened. It was actually not least a bit frightening. It was actually reassuring that humanity has a hope, because that's what happened. You go just meet people and you start, people bring their ice cream out. Everybody has to eat the kids have to eat the ice cream real fast. You have to go cook the steaks. You have to do all this stuff, right? You're barbecuing out in the block, and you're meeting everybody, and it's quiet. And the only voices out there are the voices we make ourselves.
Has our memory been wiped about this, everything before the Michelle Pfeiffer incident? Can you guys remember anything really before that?
I do.
Yeah, I still have memories from.
Well, I'm not saying you don't have memories, but I'm saying overall, it's not like you just, there's a lot of shit.
That was a point in time that definitely changed our thinking, and
I think
altered our reality. I guess
this is when they rolled this shit out, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They rolled this out
when
then.
All the schools were closed. That's when they were putting the devices in the schools,
and everybody was on their computers all the time. Devices were on. People went home to work. Now they're on their personal computers. This is when they rolled this shit out, man. Trust me on this, man. There's no way people would have rolled over for that shit.
It was getting your
that was the 5G rollout. Was during the Michelle Pfeiffer incident.
Yeah, even people never used the internet before all of a sudden had to get on the internet, right? But to have connection, it was the only way to get out. Reach out to the world, right? And so all of a sudden, people who they never would have reached before because of the pandemic had to get online. People who never would have got online before. People who never used their credit card to buy groceries before all of a sudden have to because grocery stores don't take cash.
Mm-hmm. So it was the biggest data scraping operation in history. And it all ties into the book that's coming out. Jason Stone's here tonight, coming out this fall about the Sentient World Simulation. And it's been an interesting discussion tonight, Jason. 718-618-9905 is the number to call. Any final thoughts?
Jason, I want to actually, I'm curious. Do you know what version of Sentient World they're on now? Is it 3 or are they beyond that now?
I'm not exactly sure. All of my information is from back in the early 2000s. I've looked around a little bit and tried to find like an updated version, but I haven't found anything more recent.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the last version I heard of was version 3. So, and that was a few years ago. So I don't know if there might be a version 4 or whatever now that they're running on. But I just a curiosity, because I know they were advancing it some more, and I'm sure within the last 5 years they've really cranked it up a notch with the AI.
First, they control you with what you see, then they control you with what you feel. And finally, they control you with what you think.
And they eliminate what you know. That's the final step.
And you believe it was your idea in the first place.
Right. Yeah, no, that technology is out there. It's known. I mean, and it's been developed pre-World War II. It's been around for a while. And it's been slowly building. And I would just say, like, if people don't believe that there's a system like this that exists, well, it's going to be happening soon, because this is the sort of thing that people dream of who are obsessed with power. They would want a system like this. They put it together. So, I mean, I personally believe, and it's my opinion, that I think there's enough evidence out there that the system exists. And it's happening all the time. People are experiencing it. Many people don't want to believe it. They don't want to think about it. And I understand. I mean, it's not comfortable to have to, think about these topics or these subjects, right? Like, everybody's brought up to believe that your thoughts are your own, your mind is private, on and on and on. But that's just not the case anymore. I mean, maybe it once was, and but not anymore.
Well, I listen to a lot of like old time radio, and and they play things like Gunsmoke and some of the westerns and things like that, that are staged back in like the 1800s. And you never hear anybody refer to radio or television or the phone or a computer or anything, right? And it's all, I sit, and as I listen to these things, I often wonder, what it would have been like to, live 100 years ago before all this technology surrounded all of us. Like, was it really as quiet as when the power is out? Is there, a much more organic connection to other people than having, all this tech and all the frequencies and the waves and everything affecting our biorhythms in our minds? Like, would I have been of pure, more natural thought back then? It's kind of an interesting thing, because this is really only a problem of the last 100 years, right?
No, yeah, it's just this is we've talked about the mindset programming of these generations overlapping circles. So
well, I mean,
one
even
generation
think when your grandparents were kids, right? They didn't have this.
No, but you had the radio, and everyone was sitting around it listening to it, just like tonight and tomorrow. And tomorrow night, don't forget. Hang on a second, Epic German. Tomorrow night, 8:00 Pacific, Ground Zero Plus. We'll be back with the Chilluminati. So make sure you come and join us for that. Go ahead, Epic Journeyman.
Well, we're talking about hair and the significance of hair as a data acquisition system on your personal biomass, right? And it's not just the hair on your head; it's hair all over your body, right? And you think about it in terms of something in the ocean, like an octopus, where they have 8 tentacles that I mentioned in the chat, where it's an advanced animal, it's intelligent for what it is, as smart as a 4 or 5-year-old child, right, with 8 manipulator arms, right? But what are we, if you think about this from the idea of amplify that, instead of it being tentacles, our very hair is an amplification of that idea of reaching out and touching the world in all these different ways with different spectrums, the super spectrum, if you will, of everything that's being broadcast in an environment. And we have this ability, sensory ability, that far transcends the simplicity of something in an aquatic environment, in the sense that we have this electromagnetic sensory array. Think about it.
I wonder
if
if
the hair go back on the back of your neck, right? It's because a big cat is stalking you. We've had that time immemorial, right? Like you look behind you when something's staring down your neck. Your hair is going to the back of your neck. It's a sensory array.
But now,
well, I wonder if that's why, like in the military and the cops, they make you shave your heads because they're detuning you from receiving those frequencies.
Yes, they are. And Epic Journeyman, what you're describing now has been hijacked, and there's a more powerful signal, shoving another idea in your mind. All right, listen, we're just about out of time. Any final words, Jason?
Well, I just I want to thank you all for having me on here, and I hope more people get interested in this topic and do the research themselves too. Don't just take what I'm saying as the truth. Look into it, and maybe talk with other people about it, and see where it goes.
All right.
Thanks, Jason. Glad for having you, man. Come back again. I mean, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for coming, brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. All right, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Stone. More to come with Jason. He's going to be on the Ground Zero Plus, where we'll be tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Pacific. All right, you guys, time to go. You ready to go?
I think it's about that time, right?
All right, rock and roll.
I got to dip back under the access panel and the Spock's spot on the bridge, the Enterprise again, I guess. But no, I should be free tomorrow.
All right.
Might make it, actually.
We'll see you guys tomorrow night. We're going to talk about something having to do with what we talked about tonight. Only we're going to get more detail in it. All right. We appreciate every one of you guys for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night.
And a time has passed. Those were memories that have been by so fast. I can't see you. I can't hear you.
All right, we'll see you next time.